Oh, hell yeah.
That's how we're starting this podcast.
Fuck
All right,
yeah.
we're back and we're live. We're just gonna sort of hang out while everybody joins us.
Stumbles in.
Stumbles in drunk,
Not yet.
Sleep
Hopefully
drunk.
later on.
but later, yeah, we'll be drunk. Well, depends on where you are because we have. It's actually funny because we have B, my co-host here. Leah, she is from New Zealand, so for her it's 8 p.m. and you, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, boy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if
hell.
it would have been worse if I'd slept or because I usually RP to like 5 a.m. anyway. But I was
Oh,
like,
that would have
"It's
been
not
worse to
sure."
sleep for 2
It-
hours.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Like having a
God.
nap. Nah,
There's
naps
nothing
suck.
wrong with sleeping for 2 hours. It's perfectly normal and healthy.
Yeah, that's what I do, and it's awful, and I hate myself every time I do it.
This is the lie I tell myself every single time I do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is what normal sane people do, okay? I don't want to
Mhm.
hear anything else about it. Don't bring up my bad habits.
You sleep for 2 hours at a time as well?
I mean, I don't really have a consistent sleep schedule because currently, fun employed. But it's just one of those things where depending on what I'm doing, I usually don't sleep that well anyway. So
Yeah, same. Same.
It's like the sleep equivalent of speed dating, where you're just letting your body like meet up with the idea of rest. Like, here
Yeah.
you go,
truly.
take it away.
It's
Try
like,
again next time.
hey, anytime now.
Speed
It'll be
It'll be
dating.
great.
Oh god.
That's very funny.
Sleep and I are in an abusive relationship at the moment. It's not,
Yeah,
not
same.
good.
I can change him.
I can change.
Right?
That's what we all like to tell ourselves.
I can change sleep.
Exactly.
You don't understand. Deep down, sleep loves me.
Yeah, he's just misunderstood. That's all.
Misunderstood.
Once we figure it out, it's fine.
Mhm. Mhm. We're just working on things right now. Okay, so that's been long enough. Introductions. My name is Orcish. My co-host over there is Bee's Knees. This is our
Hi.
podcast, Zug and the Bug, where we talk
Woo.
about role play, a little bit of real life, and lately we've been talking about a lot about Wild RP, which is a role play server for Red Dead Redemption 2. And today we have a very special guest, Leah, who is sacrificing her sanity and sleep schedule to be here with us.
And looking absolutely stunning for 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
The
When
joke's
I-
on me. I didn't have sanity or sleep schedule to start with.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Woo! Nothing to lose.
I can guarantee you that at 7 a.m. I do not look like that.
It's all the lights, baby. I'm exhausted.
Wow, hello. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
It is a pleasure. Yeah, I remember catching the one where PB was on a few weeks back, and I
Did
was
you?
like, "Oh, good fun. Yeah, I caught up on most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very good fun. So
Phoebe's great.
now she's all right. I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't.
She's only
We shouldn't
great.
talk. We shouldn't talk her up.
Yeah, she's all right.
She'll just get mad at us for complimenting her.
Exactly. You
So
gotta-
we're
Yeah,
not
she
going to do
does
that.
hate that.
Mhm.
So that makes sense.
Mhm.
But interestingly enough, you're also great, Leah. Yeah, no, you bring great RP to the server. Oh.
Keep going.
Uh-huh. Okay. You also are on a on a table story show, right?
Yes.
I've caught a little
Yep.
bit of that.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Remind me who you're on there with again. Is Brad the DM for that one?
Brad's the DM. Yeah, we got Disby RX who does a lot of GTA RP.
Yeah.
Fairlight Excalibur, variety stream extraordinaire. Bree, who plays Kuta, and a bunch of people on Wild RP as well. A bunch of people. She's insanely talented. It's mad. And yeah, that's it. There's only 4 cast members in the DM. Small
Yeah, it's which one's that called again?
Mistlight.
Mistlight. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to be wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember the first time I caught it, I DM PB and I was like, "What the fuck is this cast?" And she was like, "I know, right?" Like,
They're so good. And
yeah.
it's especially awesome because the setting is so like unique. I remember the first 5 episodes of that show because it's a gothic horror, like homebrew D&D setting. And the first 5 episodes, I was scared shitless the entire time. I was like, the tension was so good and like the music and the environment and everything
Hmm.
that I was terrified to even like the half hour before each show. I was like, "Ugh." Like a mess, an anxious mess. Like not
Oh,
because I'm
oh.
on a show, but because
Hmm.
the setting was that scary.
That's awesome. I
So
love that.
yeah, it's a very cool show. Very
The
cool.
production value over there is very good.
So good, so
Big
good.
fan.
Yeah,
They do great work over there.
they knock it out of the park
They
every
do.
time.
Yeah, and you also you stream. You're a variety streamer as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty
I have
much.
no plan in my life or my career or my stream. Yeah, it just happens.
But I've also caught that you are a bit of a musician as well, right?
I have been known to play a little bit of guitar terribly. Yes.
A little bit of guitar terribly. Okay.
I own too
So,
many instruments for how bad I am.
well, I mean, I
the
I
way.
bet
It's the
you're
way.
better than you say you are, but fair enough.
That's always how it is, isn't it? Though, like you
Hmm.
learn something and you get better at it, but in your head you're always at that next level. So you're like, oh, why am I not there yet? And then you're
Yeah.
like talking yourself down, but
Hmm.
really you're so much better than you were.
That's
Oh,
how
that's
I am with
definitely
eating
like
food. I'm like, I'm just not good enough at eating it, but really I am.
If I try harder next time, I'll finish that 20 chicken nugget box. Like, I know it.
Ah, can't get past 18.
God damn it. That's weird to me. I think that's definitely like a creative thing though, to
Mhm,
constantly want to strive to improve and
mhm.
always never being satisfied with where you are currently.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I think that's
Yeah.
true of like art when you're like creating art. Like there's no finished product, right? Because it
Mm.
could always be better
Hmm.
in the artist's
Yeah.
mind.
Until
So
you're
That is very true.
overworking it.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember this
Yeah.
one thing when I used to do a lot of digital art stuff. One of the pieces of advice someone gave me was like, when you get to an end piece of digital art, like go back 3 steps, and then that was probably the finished piece, and you've been
Ah,
overworking it since then. And I'm like, that kind of makes so much sense. Like, it's not always exactly true, but
yeah.
like you tend to overthink it so much. So
That's
love
incredible.
that.
I didn't know that you were a digital artist.
I do. I mean, I'm kind of one of those people who just likes to try everything and then drop it like a month later. So
There's
I
nothing
I
do
wrong
mean,
with
everything.
that.
look, you at least you try it. I know that they're,
Yeah.
speaking for personal experience, I'm the kind of person where it's like, I'd love to give this a go, but the fear of just absolute destroying failure over envelops
Yeah.
me, so I refuse.
It is that. See, at least if you try it, then the failure is justified. That fear of failure is like, oh, okay, now the worst case scenario did happen. I sucked at it. Oh well, moving on. Let's try something else instead. Why not?
You don't, you don't really necessarily get the feeling of fear of failure.
um, yes and no. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'd rather just try it and then suck at it and then know, because I think that fear of not knowing for me overweighs that fear of failure. Fear of failure keeps me going in like life and career, where I'm like so scared to mess it up that I will keep chugging along for the sake of it. But yeah, and it wouldn't stop me from trying things most of the time. Does get me frustrated when I'm not perfect at it straight away though, because then I'm like,
Yeah. Why can't we
why
be
am I bothering?
perfect?
what's the point?
Why can't I pick
Exactly.
up a basketball and dunk?
Exactly.
Like,
So what's even the point?
yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely a lot of trying to run before you can walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that a gamer thing? Because like in video games generally, it's easier to pick things up. Like it's easier to get. I think it's easier to get good in video games than it is in real life. Maybe that's just because I've been playing video games forever, but I wonder if there's some sort of correlation there where like, I've been doing this for 3 hours. Why am I not a pro?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's because it's one of those things where with video games, right? A lot of it is instant gratification with, like grinding. You physically see progress very, very quickly in a lot of video games. And so I guess maybe it's an attention span thing where it's like if it takes longer than, you know, a, a day's worth of, video gaming to get good at something, then it's like, well, what's the point? Same thing
Yeah.
with, you know, because I read a fucking thing forever and ever ago. I'll have to try and fucking cite the source, but the attention span, especially now for most people, is absolutely like shockingly bad. Like people are
Hmm.
really like so bad at dedicating themselves to like time to actually really do something because we're so used to like, fast
Mm-hmm.
like consuming like TikTok's like a minute long, 30 seconds long. Vine was like 6 seconds long. And it becomes a thing where it's like, it gets to a point now where people will look at YouTube videos and they'll be like, if it's longer than 10 minutes, I don't watch it because it's too long.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy, which is why I think that's probably why people get like so frustrated with,
Mm.
really having to grind things out or work
Committing
things out.
to trying to learn a new skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But on top of
Yeah.
that, it's like gaming. You try a new game for a few hours, and you kind of like already know the rules of how gaming works. You know that
Mhm.
if you
Mhm.
try this set of keybinds, you're probably going to find what you need to find. So it makes the process of trying a new game, even if it's a brand new genre, makes it a lot less daunting. Whereas in
Yeah.
real life, if you pick up a new hobby, you don't even know where to start with like the rules of how this entire thing works. You got to
Yeah.
learn everything from scratch, and I think that's what makes it so much harder. Whereas in
Yeah,
gaming, it's like you know kind of what's going on to start with, so it's easy.
absolutely. And I think the thing is as well, especially like I don't have that many hobbies. Like I have a few, but I know people who have like really dedicated hobbies, like a friend
Mm.
of mine who has just started pottery and is like
Oh, that's cool.
completely obsessed with it and spends like so much time. She's even bought like a kiln and stuff for her house so she can do it at
Nice.
home instead of doing it in the studio
That's
and
so
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, and I would just like absolutely love to have that kind of dedication to like any hobby. But I also am the kind of person where it's like I'm either like super hyper focused on something that I'm working on, or
Mhm.
I will literally look at anything else to distract me from whatever the fuck it is that I'm doing. Where
Yeah.
it's like I will become completely transfixed by a fly, like hanging out in my room and being like, well, I mean, I suppose I better
Kind
try
of
and get rid of that
kind of
instead
fly is
of
that?
fuck, I don't know. What do you want? You want a fucking house fly? You want a horse fly? I don't
Okay.
am I supposed to know the genus?
Yeah, yes, please. Um, so tonight, B, you have no idea what's going on in Wild RP anymore because you abandoned us.
Wow. Okay. Let's not say that. All right. That is not
I
fucking
mean,
true.
you kind of did.
That is not fucking true.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I have just been suffering from a little thing called RP burnout.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I would like to point out,
Yeah.
okay, I'd like to point out to everybody listening, I've
Mm-hmm.
been on Wild for a long ass time. We
Mm-hmm.
know this. But I've been playing pretty much consecutively almost every single day for a year. I think I'm
Oof.
allowed.
Yeah.
I think I'm allowed to have some RP burnout. I think that's
Yep,
okay.
that'll do it.
Mm. Okay.
I think that's acceptable. Okay.
Anyways,
And I haven't
I was just saying that because you don't know. I'm gonna talk about a scene that just happened,
Oh,
and
Mm.
you're
please
not
do.
gonna
I will sit
know.
and listen as a brand new observer.
So there's this
Continue.
character who's probably the most wanted person on the server right now. Which that comes and goes. People hold that title very briefly, usually. His name is Bonnie Jack, and we were riding through tall trees,
Never heard that
and
name.
we were just having a chat. I think we were hunting bears or something, and we found 0 wolves, 0 bears, 0 cougars, and
Wait, let's just set the scene. Let's just set the
oh
scene.
yeah,
It's fog. It's the middle of the night.
oh
It's
yeah,
foggy as all hell.
okay,
Like you can, it feels cold. I'm sat in my boiling hot office, but it felt cold.
mm-hmm.
There's like wolf howls all around you. There's a cougar den to your right. You can. We thought we saw a bear. We're like following
Right,
it,
yeah,
and there's like riders sort of like coming up behind us and passing us. So it's like constantly like, oh, there's a rider behind us. Just let him pass.
yeah.
Okay, and then okay, carry on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, okay, no. So we're riding, and then yeah, rider passes us, and we're just talking and talking, and then all of a sudden we hear this voice. Might tell what it said. It said something like, what was it again? Like,
It's like
I have
I'm
you to
Mr.
thank.
Unpopular now, and I have you to
Yeah.
thank. Yeah, and we didn't know who
I'm
he was
Mr.
talking
Unpopular
to.
now, and I have you to thank. and all three of us, I'm pretty sure, were like infamously unpopular. I'm infamously unpopular, and I have you to thank. All three of us were like, I'm pretty sure recognized this voice. That's Bonnie Jack. And he was right in front of us on the road. So immediately, McGregor starts chasing him. I was like, "Scenes crossing shadows department," and chases him. And when I was chasing him, actually, at one point I almost had him. It had gotten to the point where I was gonna say, "I'm gonna give you a warning shot," and
wow.
he said, "Don't even try it," or something.
Oh my god.
Something like that.
So good though. Like, okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and then
I have so many
I
feelings.
lost him because it's tall trees and it's dark and foggy and it's incredibly easy to lose people in this game. But I double back and find you guys and we talk about it. But isn't that just like, isn't that insane that happened?
It was okay, so it's the coolest thing because like I'm part of a group of people who we kind of came to Rhodes and we kind of settled in Rhodes, and slowly Rhodes is like built up to be this like really bustling town now, just because there's a community that's developing there.
Yeah.
That's very true. And the few times that I have logged in, every time I go through roads, there's like 500 people like milling
it's super
around.
busy. And Bonnie Jack was a big part of that community at first. He worked at the gun shop and he was like, we'd see him around town and be constantly like commiserating him. He was a part of that community. And slowly he just kind of went bad until recently when there was this huge shootout at McFarlane's ranch where he took hostages who were predominantly people from this community. He took hostages and robbed all the rest of us and was shooting people coming past. And he's suddenly gone from like this down on his luck, oh, he seems like he's going to the dark side kind of guy, to this infamous boogeyman that like the whole of Rhodes is just like, Bonnie fucking Jack, Bonnie fucking, like everyone's so angry at
Everybody
him.
hates him.
And they're all kind of a little bit scared of him as well. Like they all hate him, but they're also like kind of, he's capable of doing some fucked up stuff and they know that now. So it's terrifying. So for us to go into, just randomly go into this forest in the middle of the night and he's just there, and his voice is so distinctive as well. As soon as I heard it, I was like, no fucking way. No way, it's Bonnie Jack. So I love that for him because like in character we're like, yeah, we shouldn't let his name be big, we shouldn't give him that sort of attention, he's nobody, he's just a jackass. But then out of character it's like, Bonnie fucking Jack.
Bonnie fucking Jack.
It's so good.
Nice.
And then we were like, do we follow McGregor? Like, is he gonna get into trouble? What if he gets caught in an ambush? What if this was the point? He's gonna get ambushed. We should,
or maybe a
shouldn't
bear,
do anything.
or like
anything
very
could have
dangerous.
So I was like, me and Sparks, like, I just imagined us looking at each other, like, what do we do? Where do we go? And then we decided to look out for ourselves, and we sort of loosely followed a little bit, but without going hard because it was dark. And then we saw him go in the other direction, and we're like, oh my god, is McGregor okay? Did he get caught by somebody? Is everything fuck? We didn't hear any gunshots, did we? No, shit, what's happening? So we're like looking around for you. But yeah, that was such an awesome encounter, I think, because it was so unexpected. But yeah, I think he's playing a very awesome villain because I loved the way he handled the McFarlane hold up sort of thing, because there was like 20 of us and they managed to fleece all of us. But I just think he's playing a very cool villain. So, yeah. Props to him, Interloper. He plays Bonnie Jack.
Yes, I did not know that. I did not know who played Bonnie Jack. But...
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, pops up in my stream sometimes.
Pops in your stream.
And
rubs it in. Like, how'd you like being robbed?
Well, do you ever like stream and you have this? Well, actually, I didn't get robbed. I was one of the only people there with my hands in the air, and they didn't rob me. They forgot to check me.
Nice.
I got very well. It's because Dallas was stood behind me, so I think they kind of just didn't get to me. But do you ever have those moments in stream where you remember a comment and you're like, it's 5 hours after the stream, and you're like, I was going to respond to that and I forgot. I saw it and I just didn't. That happened the other night. Interloper was in my chat and I forgot to say hi, and I was like, God damn it, I really wanted to say things to you. Fuck. I got very upset with myself.
That definitely happens to me for sure.
That's very sad.
Yeah, villains are super important. Like, bad guys are very important. I really like playing bad guys, but I also feel like I'm so entrenched in this character. I think you probably feel the same way too, where it's like you can't really, I don't know. I think PB said this before. She's like a one character kind of person.
Mhm.
I can dabble with a second character, like mess around, but I can't really get into their story if I'm stuck into somebody else's.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
And it's hard to keep it all separate, I imagine.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it separate. It's hard for me to do two voices at once too. Like I really commit on those voices, and it's really hard for me to keep accents straight when I have two of them in my head.
It's what I admire Maya for quite a lot, because he plays Dallas and he plays Crispin as well, and they're both such distinct characters. And also Bree, who plays Kuta and Robin and Dakota, and it's like 3 insanely distinct characters, all with their own thoughts and their own ways of reacting with things. And she plays them like kind of simultaneously, switching between them. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? it's
I think I could do 2. I think I could do 2 if I didn't have like a day job. I think I could do 2.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Trench
Yeah,
Mouse. I also didn't get robbed. Trench, were you there? Just throwing that in there. B, were you there?
I got a bone to pick with Herbie.
That was.
You got a bone to pick with Herbie? Herbie's innocent. He would never. Whatever it is.
He would never.
No, Herbie's a sweet boy.
A sweet boy. He's just misunderstood.
He's a sweet boy. Herbie's a very sweet boy.
There's I don't know how much meta we can go into. I suppose it's fair game, right?
If they're here, it's meta time, I guess.
Herbie, who, if he asked anyone for a lockpick, this is so funny because our characters just had this huge drama over this thing, and it's so stupid. But like, if Herbie asked one of us for a lockpick, we'd just be like, Sparks was like, well, Herbie asked me, and I assumed it was like, I don't know, he had someone in handcuffs in his bedroom or something, and needed help undoing them. Like, you wouldn't assume anything nefarious from Herbie. Yeah, you just think it was Herbie, like Herbie showing us his love cannon, and it's an actual cannon in his garden. Like, it's just a Herbieism. So, but actually, I think it turns out he actually did want someone who could pick locks to do a bad job.
Oh, Herbie.
Never suspect that. And I fucking love that so much. And it caused so much shit, and he would never know. Like, Herbie would probably never know what has happened because of that. And it's just, wow.
The ripple effect of one word that somebody could say, and then someone could take it out of context or misunderstand it, and then rumors start.
Yeah.
And then you wake up the next day and someone will come up to you and say something absolutely ridiculous to you, like, I heard you're a playboy. This actually happened to me. And McGregor's like, what? McGregor slept with one person one time since he's been in the crossing. Playboy. Yeah.
Playboy. It's funny as well because so many people will make up. That's part of the RP, isn't it? Like sharing gossip and seeing how far it gets and seeing how much shit it gets people into.
Yeah.
So it's crossed with telephone.
It's a game of telephone, and it can be super frustrating sometimes. But that's like real life, though, too, right? Yeah. Like people make shit up. Rumor mill.
But it is mad how quickly it spreads.
It does. It spreads super quickly.
Yeah. It's cool though.
It's like when people have secrets and stuff, and they're like, "I have the secret, but don't tell anyone." I'm literally like,
There's like you told 7 people already.
There's no such thing. There is no such thing.
But also because in RP, if you keep a secret in RP, what's the point? Like in RP, most of the time you're developing stories of people. So it's like, to be honest, the point of that sharing of information is so that it gets in someone else's hands and something happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
absolutely.
You hope it gets out.
Some of my absolute favorite RP that I've ever done is being a snitch.
Nice.
And then just sitting back and watching the carnage ensue.
Oh God.
Watch the world burn.
It's great fun. I love it.
So good.
You come in and you're acting like a little secret informant. It's super great. I've done it.
And they're just stirring shit. Like the amount of characters that. The best thing is some characters will be stirring shit, but unless they stream, which most people don't, you won't know their perspective, and you won't know if they are actually deliberately stirring shit in character, or if they've just been mistaken, or like if there's a deliberate thing going on there, or they have more information. And it's like it's so perfectly realistic that you hear something about another character spreading a rumor, and you're like, oh fuck, are they doing that deliberately to fuck with us, or are they they're
Yeah.
mistaken, or like it's so good. I love it. The
It's
mystery.
deliberate. Trench says it's
Uh-huh.
deliberate.
That's
If it's
'cause that's
Trench, it's
Trenchwood.
deliberate.
exactly.
Yeah.
Trentwood.
I love that. Uh,
Fucking
so
Herbie
good.
was the secret keeper of Saints Crossing for the longest time.
Was
He knew shit about everybody.
That's
Oh
It
my
was
God.
fucking insane. I got to sit with Herbie one time on Georgie and he just told her a whole bunch of shit. And I was like, why
Holy
do you
shit.
know all of this?
We need like a
people-
burn book scenario
Yeah.
where like someone goes around getting all these deep dark secrets, writing them in a book, and then just gets
Uh-huh.
robbed, and suddenly they're all out
Oh,
there.
fuck.
Like secrets
there
of the
was-
crossing.
There was the book that Molly wrote, which had like all
The
the
rumor?
rumors of Saint. Yeah, the rumor book
Oh.
of
Those are
Saints
all-
Crossing.
Those are all fake, though.
Some of them weren't.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, some of them weren't. Some were fake and some weren't.
I think
So-
Roscoe was kind of playing on this a little bit. He had his character, John Hell was his name, like recently, who
Uh-huh.
would walk behind people and go, I heard a rumor about you. And
Yeah.
he'd just make up some bullshit on the spot. But because everyone's so fucking paranoid, like
Mhm.
everyone's like, what does
He's
it
a
mean?
murderer. That guy
What does it
right
mean?
there.
Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger. And then Mama just shoots him.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Right. Yeah, I actually was there for that. I ran up and was like, what the fuck happened? Oh, nothing.
I don't want to press charges.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Mama. Freaking she's gotta
She's
love
so good.
Mama.
Mm-hmm.
She is. It was an accident, McGregor. Mm-hmm.
An accident. Mm-hmm.
Oh hell. The people who run the roadhouse are a bunch of dirty outlaws, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
They are pulling Awkward
Mischievous.
Johnson into everything as well, which is so funny to me. I
And-
absolutely adore it.
I think maybe Archie too. Like these innocent characters. Maybe
Wait,
Tibbles.
Archie.
Trout.
Oh, I don't know
Archibald?
him.
Uh,
I don't know him.
oh, okay.
Mm.
This is news
This
to
is
me.
news to me.
Innocent characters like Tibbles,
The fucking cannibal.
the cannibal. He just has the nipples, Trench.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, V's over here. She has no idea what's going on. So
I know.
the
I'm so
entire
sorry.
month of December, like when you decided to leave, Saints Crossing was plagued by a group of cannibals.
I did briefly hear about that.
Yeah.
on the, like one or two
Tibbles
times
is one
that I
of 'em.
jumped in. People were like, yeah, there's cannibals everywhere. I was like,
Yeah. It was a nightmare.
what, in tall trees? No. I was like, oh, great. Where are they now?
They've expanded.
They've
Yeah.
moved on.
There's-
Bigger
Yeah.
and brighter pastures.
There's been what, like 5 different groups of cannibals throughout the server's history.
There's been so
Hmm.
many.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
Yeah, they resurface every so often.
But we actually, in December, we had 2 different groups. And we had a weird murderer and 2 different kidnappers. It was insanity. And that's really when me and PB started doing so much role play together because she joined medical. And I kept there was all these bodies. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this RP because they were NPCs. And I was like, you know what? What if we had the medics do like an autopsy on them, on all of them? And it just,
Evil.
yeah, it was evil. But it was great. I think it was good RP for everybody. And it was just like, it really brought this heavy feeling, these murders of NPCs, because they would like leave details for us that was like, skin was missing from this body you found. And, like, stuff like that. Like fucked up. Some of them were like,
Yeah, 'cause we
body parts
found
were
one in
nailed against the
Blackwater.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah, we found the one that was in the Blackwater Town Hall, and it was like leg is missing and flayed, and this part is over here, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? What is
Yeah.
happening? Terrifying.
Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff. Which
Mhm.
like, and it's kind of like they're when you're role playing, you know, they're giving you this like, do with this what you will. And some people they see an NPC and they don't you know, they kind of are like, I see dead NPCs all the time, but like we took it very seriously and was like, these are murderers. They are eating people.
Yeah.
There's like 27 dead people. All of them are named John Doe or Jane Doe, but we're going to figure this
They're
out.
still people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that as well because there seems to be a disparity of people who will take NPCs seriously and actually
Mhm.
like look after them as if they're people, and
Yeah.
people who are just like, the whatever, it's
I'm
an
gonna beat the shit
NPC.
out of this guy or shoot him or whatever. And
Yeah.
granted, there are like fucked up criminals who would rob an NPC for almost nothing. I get that. and
Yeah,
that's
who would do
fine.
that?
Excuse me? Oh yeah, that's right. You.
When we started in the crossing, our first 2 days were fucking roaming around New Austin, like, pushing people off their horses to steal their hats and often killing them in the process. And I had no idea at the time, like, how fucked up that actually was. Like, we just brand new to the server, just like, we're gonna be bad guys.
That's
Let's go
so
steal some
funny.
hats. And yeah, it was so bad.
That's funny
Looking
because
back
I have a
now.
character that does that, but that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I think I took things less seriously.
Yeah.
At,
Yeah.
at some point too, and then but recently, I really think that the role play I've gotten from Rhodes has changed the trajectory of my character and of my role play. Like I appreciate it so much. I think that taking things seriously like that, especially medical RP, a lot of people gloss that over. But like it's such a good opportunity to just highlight how dangerous this time period was.
Yeah.
And like it really was like the Wild West. You know what I mean, B?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Like a lot of people perma on this server. I come from Conan RP. And I think Conan's a great game. But people did not perma as much over there as they do over here. It's way different, which is great. I love it. I respect
And even
it a
that
lot.
seems to change massively depending on what part of the crossing you're in as well. Like there's certain areas that do seem to take it quite seriously and others that don't so much. Which is really interesting when those two groups come together and like clash, and it's there's a very weird out of character like meta, like, ooh, how do you approach that with your high value of life compared to like their like really low value of life? Like how do you even have an altercation like that? Because you will be they fucking stab you once and you're like, oh, okay, it's time to roll a d20. Am I bleeding out? Did they nick an artery? You stab them, they're like, yeah, I can take 20 more, come at me.
You're like, oh god, what sort of monster is this? Yeah, it's hard to find a balance there, right? Because you don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As law, like, I don't want to take it too seriously and be like giving them this huge advantage where if I get shot once in a gun battle, I'm like, no,
yeah,
my shooting finger, or
guess
whatever.
I'm off the force. I was one day from retirement.
I'm retiring. Yeah. But so I usually, how I've been doing it lately is if I get downed in PvP combat, I have a chart and I roll a D100, and wherever I land on that chart, like that's kind of how I figure out my wounds.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Which I did that because we were in the mountains one day and PB fell down. And she was like, I'm so sorry in DMs, but I'm rolling right now. And I was like, what? You just slid down a little hill. What the?
So evil.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I try and take like a time and place kind of perspective. I measure each one by like context. So like yesterday, Frankie had a really rough day in the crossing. She got down, she got kicked twice by a horse and like KO'd to that. She almost KO'd to a cougar. And then she almost KO'd by flipping over her horse. And in all of these scenarios, I'm like, I could RP this very seriously. But also in this scenario, would that be fun for everyone involved? Would that make like an enriching, fun RP experience? Or would that just kind of not be enjoyable? So I was like kind of in my head, like, how do I want to play that? Because like the cougar one easily could have KO'd to that if I wanted to. But I was like, I don't know. I think I will take this as like a light scratch because I think in this particular scenario, I'd rather it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have the what's the word? Like the privilege of being able to decide that as a role player, whereas in real life, you just take what you get, right? But for sure, in PvP, it's very different though, because in PvP, I think you have to kind of take each incident quite seriously. Whereas in PvE, it's like so much random bullshit can happen to you. Whereas
Right.
like you fall off a cliff because I don't know, something stupid happens and you have no control over it because it's a game thing. Um, uh, like the other day, Sparks got a tomahawk to the shoulder because somebody behind her tried to throw one, and instead of throwing it, they went into an automatic execution animation.
Uh-huh.
I've
Um,
done that.
I think everyone has, right?
and they almost killed her.
Oh God.
Yeah,
So
I've done
yeah.
that with Trench while we were going through hatcheting or tomahawking bears in the head,
Yeah.
because if you do that, you
That's
can
what
kill.
happened.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I jumped up on top of this like carriage thing, and he was standing up there, and he was like, "Okay, kid, go for it." And I took it out, and I went to chuck it, and I swung around, and I like one shot him in the neck, and then he fell off the thing. I was like,
Please tell me this was in Big Valley, because I've kind of imagined it being that little camp with the caravan that you can jump on, and there's that bear that always spawns in the forest opposite it. Because that's
Uh,
exactly where this one happened.
yeah, ours was it was in tall trees,
Oh,
and
so
Yeah,
big.
there's some caravans there too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's the bear. We call it Bear Town because there's always
Yeah.
a bear that lives in there.
Yeah,
And so I was
yeah,
like-
Bear Town.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bear Town.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Big Valley wasn't the first time. Yeah, we did it in Big Valley the first time.
Wait,
but this
how many
one
times
was-
did you instant kill?
Oh,
Fred?
It's
Fucking hell.
that I'm a slow learner, and it took me a couple of instances to realize that I should probably slash PvP.
It is so funny though, like the game
funny.
sometimes forcing you into those situations, and you're like, oh god, how do we RP out of that? Like,
Yeah.
do we go all in or like? And it's just really fun having to make those decisions on the fly as well, because often you have, especially when you're downed, you have like 3 seconds to decide how fucked up you are.
Yeah,
Before
Because
everyone's
someone
like,
runs
oh my god,
up
are you
and
okay?
is like, checks
Yeah.
wounds,
"Oh, you
and you're
okay?
like,
yeah.
give me a minute to think about this. I don't know how bad I am yet.
Broken spine, broken spine, broken spine. Go all in. Yeah, it's so hard to make those snap decisions and then stick to them. And I
Yeah,
think
Sticking to them
yeah.
is hard too, because you roll it and
Yeah.
you're like, do I really want to roll to 12 right there? Because that means that I'm almost dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, yeah, I get
I'm
that.
not ready to
The
go.
reason you guys roll, I don't think I've ever rolled for injuries before, personally.
I think it's fun, but it's
Mm.
I suppose it leaves it up to chance, right?
a little
Kind
bit.
of takes it out of your hands.
I think like what Leah was saying, like if it's an animal that downs me, it's not as serious. Like I don't think I'm gonna perma to that unless it's like perfect, you know?
Yeah, like a really dramatic situation, and then you
Yeah.
go down to it, and it's like, oh, this
Mhm.
is perma worthy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think like my chart still it's still there's a lot you have to control. You still get to decide like where your wounds are for the most part, and you still get to decide like, you know, like if the medics get to you in time, do they save? Like that's all. There's still some choices there, but and I do think it's important that I remember Jam was telling me he had rules of permaing, and it was like, is it going to promote story? Does it make sense? Does it feel good to you? And like if you don't hit all those rules, that's not a direct quote to what Jam said, but he had 3 rules, and I think it was something like that. And like, you know, you really want to, if you're gonna perma, like it has to be for a pretty good reason, I think. But really,
Will it make someone else feel bad? That's a
to
big one
make
as well.
someone else feel bad.
Like if someone else fucked up and you perma to it, and it's like, that's gonna be on their conscience. They've
Yeah.
accidentally
They're gonna be
permanent
thinking about
character.
this before they go to
Yeah,
bed.
that would suck. But it is, the possibilities. Like
Yeah,
when. Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I would trust me. This might take a while. I was gonna go into this whole kidnapping thing and talk about the roles I
Go
was
for
doing
it.
when I was
Go,
kidnapped.
go.
Also, this was how I think our characters got to know each other well-ish, was because McGregor found Frankie when she was kidnapped.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like what happened is she was taken away from the telegram station by this like insane guy, and she tries to make a run for it. It was fucked up. This was during that weird November of like, what is happening? Everyone's losing their minds. Okay. So she gets taken away, and he's like, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna see how many questions you can answer correctly, and that's how many organs you get to keep. And she's like, okay, I'm just gonna die. Okay, I guess this is how it ends. So
She
she
wasn't
takes a
confident in her
shotgun.
trivia. Like,
No. What color is this? Holds up 2 cards. She's like, if I just get one question wrong and one organ taken out in 1900, I would die. There's no way.
yeah.
Like, there's no way you'd be able to do it cleanly and sterilely enough that she would just get an infection and die. Probably in that environment. So anyway,
Right.
she takes the shotgun out of a saddlebag and decides to make a run for it and like jumps off the horse and like kind of tries to shoot him. And he runs up to her, tackles her, and pistol whips her in the face and just KOs her instantly. Which I think if his gun had been loaded, I think that would have been a shot. I think he would have killed her outright from a shot to the head if he'd done that. But I'm not sure.
I think if you tackle someone, you always pistol whip them.
Okay, that's good. That is
I
good to
think
know.
that if you're not sprinting at them, then I think that's when you do the you shoot them in the head.
That is
I
good
think.
to know.
B
It was
would
not-
know better than me. She played a lot
Oh.
more.
Yeah, generally the pistol whip action happens if you're already in hand-to-hand combat. If you're tackling, then no. But if you're like
really?
if you're physically fighting, I've done too many fist fights. If
She's
you
a fist fight champion.
Yeah, if you are physically
True.
fighting the other person's character, and they pull out a gun, then they will do the execution, which is they pistol whip you across the head, and then they do the shoot in the head action.
Oh. Well, so
Yeah.
they just ran and tackled her. Just tackled her and bonk straight away. It was not miasma as well. Everyone thought it was miasma the entire time. Everyone for like ages thought it was miasma, but it wasn't, which was horrifying because it operated really similarly. What?
I never thought it was miasma.
Yeah.
Based on the information, but a lot of other people did
funny.
because
other people filled in the gaps.
Yeah.
And it was a so eye-opening like eyewitness testimony thing where people were like interrogating Frankie and then they would fill in the gaps on their own without like they were kind of giving her leading questions like he had buckles on his coat, didn't he? And she's like, no, but she didn't get to answer because they've already decided the answer for themselves. And it was so fascinating. Anyway, so he pistol whips her across the face and throws her across the horse and rides off and throws her in the Shady Bell. And so I rolled because I was like, how badly would that have injured her? Let's just roll to see that. And it rolled like an average, like it was like a 10 or something. So I was like, okay, well, she's going to have an injury, but it's not going to be, she's not going to die in the next 10 seconds. She's just going to, I don't know, be in a lot of pain. And if she isn't seen soon, it could be pretty bad. So she had a big bleeding wound. And then he kind of bandaged it and he specifically RP'd it as like loosely and shoddily bandages it. So I was like, okay, so let's roll depending on how long it takes for people to find me. And because it's badly bandaged. So I was like, every 5 minutes I'd roll to see if it was leaking through the bandage and to see if it was well done. And it took 30 minutes for people to find me, I think, in the end. So I was rolling like I rolled quite a few times.
Were you getting close to like, oh shit, I might have to perma?
Yeah, I did a death roll. Just before you found me, I did a death roll.
Did you?
And then, yes.
Was chat losing their minds?
Yes.
Oh
and
my
I rolled
God.
horribly as well. And I was playing this really like intense song as well. And then the funniest thing was McGregor finds her and throws her on the back of the horse and they ride out. And then you stop before we get to Rhodes and you go, and someone goes, we should check the graveyard. And you stop and turn around as if you're about to go somewhere and check somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if he goes to check that graveyard, I'm permed. Like, I don't win. I don't live.
Yeah.
There's no way I live through that. And I was like, is he going to do it? Is he going to take it to get medical attention?
I don't even think I considered it. I think I was going to tell them something, but...
Yeah, it made it extra spicy though, that's for sure. And then we got to the med tent and it was mostly just, I didn't want to roll too much because I didn't want it to be too RNG based, but I just kind of rolled a couple times to see if the treatment was working. And luckily it rolled well, so it was all good in the end. But whew, it was it was such an intense, and I think it was quite fun rolling like that where it's like just general guidance rather than definite determines, because then it lets you play to the moment a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love rolls. I love rolling. I got my first set of dice recently.
Ooh.
Yeah,
very
very
nice.
happy about it.
You got a little dice box.
I do actually. I have my
I
dad's.
need a dice
I
box.
have my dad's old D&D dice as well as mine.
Oh,
That's dope.
Yeah, my dad's D&D dice from when he was my age. and this was the box that he kept it in, so I kept it.
Yeah. I need
That's
a
so
box,
cute.
and I think I want a tower too, and I want to set up a cam.
I love the
For it.
sound of dice going down the tower. I'm like, thunk, thunk. It's
Yeah.
great. It's a nice sound.
That's a nice sound.
So
That
many
was,
dice.
I think that was like the first really big interaction I had with roads.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, like
That's
I'd
interesting.
I'd ride through and I'd try to make a presence because I knew that Rhodes was like so pissed at the law. Trying to say something stupid. I only have my dad's hash pipe. Okay.
That counts, Trench. I'm sure he
I
still
see
loves you.
B laugh and I'm like, Trench said something.
I hate it. I hate the fact that he makes me laugh. I hate it. Fucking hell.
B, do you want to ask our new question? We came up with a new question, chat. We're no longer asking the old question of what character would you smash in real life? As
Oh,
people were
at
getting
least Leah wants to
uncomfortable.
answer
No,
that.
that's okay.
Do you want to answer it? Yeah.
No, Frankie
the-
gets pursued far too much. I can't answer it. It would break hearts.
That's funny.
I also couldn't. I don't think I try and see when I play through the lens of like what you'd be attracted to in the 1900s rather
Right.
than like modern attraction, which is
Interesting.
quite fascinating to look at and think about. But
Well, yeah, we have a new question. So it's time. B, are you gonna do it, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have you ask the question. I'll just open it up for you. Okay.
Okay, open up the floor for me. Go
It's
on.
time for Ask That Question.
What is your biggest RP pet peeve, Leah?
ooh,
Uh-huh.
oh,
Lay it out for us.
I'm gonna have to think about that one. Give me a second.
We can think about it. I'll
Yeah,
tell
let
you
it
mine.
percolate a little bit. Yeah,
I'll tell you
okay.
mine.
Give it some time to marinate.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd say I have to think about some tacos. Drives me insane. I'm thinking really hard about some chicken noodle soup right now.
I did that today. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you actually
yesterday.
do that?
But I was like, have donuts been invented yet? Because
Wait, what did you say?
if donuts have been invented yet, then I'd be eating a really good one right now. I've just sometimes when you're on for like 7 hours, though, you're like, I need a moment.
I literally, in any situation where I have to disappear, which is frequent because I live at home with my parents and they make a lot of noise and I'm constantly having to do things, and having drums played in the background, or my brother playing Kanye West really loud upstairs, or my dog screaming at me, or just general noise in my house, I literally just say, "Oh, I have to go," and I just sprint in the opposite direction and I just go and hide somewhere.
That's what Maya's other character, Crispin, does. When he needs to just make a quick escape, he goes, I'm going to fuck off that way, and just walks out of the conversation.
That's such
And
a great
every
line.
single time. It's so good.
Yeah.
Every time.
I just sprint away from the situation, or I try and make the situation as awkward as possible so then my character has a reason to leave. It's like, this situation is just getting out of control. It's out of hand. There's weird things going on. I'm leaving. I'll see you later. Goodbye. It's been really great.
Oh, man.
Catch you
I'm
around,
eating
guys.
dinner in my head, says Trenchmouth.
Yeah, so
I'll
that's,
be in my
that
head.
crosses a big line.
Yeah.
Or I just go, I frequently, I just say, I have to use the outhouse.
Yeah.
And I just
That's a
wander to the
perfect
outhouse.
excuse because
Yeah.
Yeah.
you never role play taking a piss. So if you need a minute, just that's what I do when I don't do headaches.
I mean, if we want to get really immersive, can just, record the sound of you pouring water into a bowl.
Yeah. I can put that on my GoXLR.
And
There we
then
go.
just play it whenever you're going to the outhouse.
Why did you say
Immersion.
Mm.
McGregor doesn't get headaches anymore. He shouts, "Go to take a piss!" Like in that moment when you know that you're about to get disconnected. "Go to take a piss!"
I love that. Oh,
I just
God.
scream, "Oh no," or I make a noise. I just go, "Ah!" and then just
A lot. Yeah.
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 Yep. I just make a noise. I just like to pretend that my character has just got like really bad heartburn. and just falls to the ground momentarily to deal with their heartburn.
We were out doing a ranger patrol yesterday, and we just got to when you're going up to Wapiti from Strawberry, and there's that bridge where if you're not careful, you fall off the side. That's a deep dive. So I'm riding, and Dallas is next to me, and he goes, "Oh, just hold on a second." And I'm like, "Okay, that's not normal to do in the middle of a ranger patrol, but okay."
Yeah.
And everybody watches in horror as he just slowly walks down the side of this cliff. It just falls down.
Oh,
this fucking
God.
cliff. And we're like, "Are you, buddy? Are you okay? What's happening?" And it turns out he'd crashed.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he was on the top again. But it was the scariest few moments of like, is he just, what is he doing? What's happening? And also because we're recruits. So this was in front of like one of the head rangers or whatever, just watching this recruit ranger go, "Bye," and like walks down the cliff.
Hold on one second.
That ain't right.
I have had so many instances with that fucking bridge. It's actually insane. One time, Fist of the Walrus, I was on my lore character, Esme, and prior to hopping on a train track and getting on a train, I'd been downed by wolves, so I had like a whole bunch of like medical RP and stuff done on my character, and he was playing Mr. West. And I stepped onto the train and I was sitting down in one of the seats in the train track, and they were like, you know, talking to her and stuff, and then eventually they all fucked off, and I was having a chat with Fist's character, Mr. West, and then I stood up and he stood up at the same time, but his character lunged for mine, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I was like, "It's okay," and he let go of me, and I glitched through the window and then
It's okay. Yeet.
yeah, and then I literally fell. I was like, this is the worst place to fall, and I fell like just down the edge of a cliff.
Oh my God.
Knocked unconscious, but I was like right on the edge, so they had to like try and get like ropes and stuff to get me out.
Fuck.
It was
That's
incredible.
terrifying. I love this game for its glitches, though. Like they're
That can
sometimes
always-
There's
so
been
unexplainable.
some weird glitches in the game. I had one
Mm.
where I was hanging out with Grenig on one of his characters. I think it was Framboise. He was playing a magician character. And I was on Georgie, I think, and he was showing me a magic trick, and this was up the back in Rhodes. And for some reason, he was like doing all this magic and stuff. And I stepped forward, and I don't know what happened, but somebody grabbed me and it launched my body up into the air. And I flew really fucking far and then landed on top of something. And then Grenade and your comedic genius goes, "And that's the trick." Holy fuck!
Fucking Grenig. He's
Grenig
the
is so
genius.
funny. He's so good.
He's been
I mean,
playing
I
his
can
And that
life
was
call
the
them.
character.
trick all along. I was like, oh my god! There's
He's
some
so
fucking
good.
great ones.
He's been
Right.
playing this character recently who's a bodyguard called Carl Moulet. He's just got a mullet, and it's just the funniest fucking
Moulet.
thing. I love my favorite thing is how he makes such like obvious stuff hilarious somehow. Like I don't know how he manages to do it, but it's never a dull moment. And I called my horse today in Strawberry, and it spawned on the roof of the Rangers Lodge. And I watched in horror. I was like, "Where the fuck is my horse?" And I just see this horse backflipping off the Rangers
God.
Lodge into the river, and just dies straight up. Like what the fuck? I really wish I'd been recording it.
In front of the
I regret.
Rangers, and they're like,
I don't
What?
think she's suitable. Yeah.
do I get my green poncho yet?
Yeah. Is this good? Am I doing good now? Yeah. Scary. The horse stuff is so funny.
Yeah, horses can freak. Carriages are nuts. If you're away from a carriage for long enough, the horses just disappear.
Yeah. I love seeing horseless carriages being just driven around as if nothing's wrong.
The NPCs are crazy now too.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll ride those things hard through town with no horses.
Just like
what the
going Mach 10 as well.
Yeah.
Top
The amount of
speed.
times I've seen people riding around town with no horse underneath them, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
them legs akimbo, just
With
going through
Happy.
town.
holding a rope. Just like
Yeah, going through town.
hmm.
And I'm just like, I have to
Scary.
pretend that everything's okay.
I don't. I'm like, what the fuck and all? It doesn't happen that often, but yeah, twice McGregor's been like, oh, I had too much morphine. I think I need to go to bed.
Oh man.
He's dead, Dome.
I'll
Okay,
never
so
forget
pet
the
peeve.
time that I turned up at the sheriff's office in Valentine, and Bishop and a bunch of others were freaking the fuck out because your character had glitched in the sleep animation, and your legs were.
That wasn't a
You know,
glitch. Okay, so he had an arm injury, so he was doing this thing. Ah, ah, ah. But I laid him down and it looked like he was sucking his own dick. And Molly wrote it in the rumor book.
That's despicable. That's so good.
Thanks, Jenny Hell.
Oh
Bishop just
no.
like crying, laughing, being like,
They look through the window and they just see McGregor like laying down in the bed.
Just McGregor thing. That's what they do in Scotland.
He was off the
That's
skull
how we
test
do it in
thing.
Scotland,
Mhm.
boys.
Yeah.
Man up, bitches.
There was a lot of
injury on that maneuver.
there was a lot of did you lose your ribs in that injury kind of
Oh,
jokes.
God. Oh,
Alright.
Oh my god, it gets
Gregor's
lonely out in the
very
crossing.
single.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly.
Clearly very single. Aggressively single. I heard you say pet peeve, which means you're ready.
Kinda. It's a bit vague though.
Okay.
Okay.
We
My
can
pet peeve
workshop
is
it.
novelty characters who burst into a scene and take over, and it's like just suddenly loud noise of like one novelty character,
yeah.
and the worst is when you try and yes and it, so you're like, oh, so what about this, and they kind of like, it's just that awkward silence because they're not expecting you to go with it, and they're just like, anyway, and then they just carry on their thing, and it's like just constant diarrhea. It's like me talking now, constant diarrhea of words and shit, and you're like, is this gonna end anytime soon? Are you gonna like let anyone else in on this scene, or is this like an ego massage? What's happening? What do you want from us? You just want an audience? I don't know.
Yes.
It's very frustrating.
No, I agree. That's very frustrating because I think that some people with their characters, they get this idea of like, I have the perfect scene for my really cool character, and I'm gonna say all of these things, and then this is gonna happen. And then they walk into a scene. You can't really, I mean, you can plan all you want, but like an RP, it's like you kind of have to go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. you have to, you can set a scene and
Yeah.
hope that it goes the way you want it to, and hope that people work with it. But most of the time, people, and this is the hardest thing I think when you first join the server, is you are a novelty character. Essentially, you're a brand new character. You have no idea. You don't know anybody. You're just getting involved in people's like existing storylines. And then when you are established more, and this kept happening with Awkward Johnson, who I actually really like as a character, and I think he's hilarious.
Same.
But at first, he would stumble up every single time he was near. There was some serious shit going down. Like, serious.
Yeah.
We're sat having a conversation, just like, people are gonna fucking die. People are gonna fucking die. And Awkward Johnson comes on like, all right, loddies. And I'm like, I can't. This is not. So like,
Lottie.
excuse me, loddies, you send me a horse. And I'm like, the amount of times that someone in our group has just been like, then I just tired this Johnson, but fuck off. That was not the time. And it's really hard because there's this like fine line between, you don't want to be that person that's like no to their yes and, where they're like clearly trying to do something interesting, and you're just like, we're in the middle of something. No, now's not the time for your like improv to come in.
Yeah,
but
that
there
is
is a
hard.
time and place. Yeah, because it's like, if you're trying to create that environment for that, you don't burst into someone else's scene and be like, this is about me now, go along with my yes and, or else. And I think it's a hard thing for people to learn sometimes, and especially for me, because this is my very first roleplay experience in character. What?
Nice. This is your first roleplay character?
Well, yeah, so I played D&D for about a year now, but this is the first server I've been a part of, like the first like actual in this sort of way.
You picked the absolute best server. Any other
If
server you
somebody
go
who
to,
learned how to roleplay on the server, yeah, you picked the right server.
any other
People
server
are
you
so
go to, you're
talented.
gonna be like, this isn't the same. You're
No, absolutely
weird.
though. It's so spoiled. Like, I'm so spoiled. Like, I mean, Myth has been instrumental in that as well. I think, like, in showing the style of roleplay that's expected, or like that works really well.
Yeah, he's been
But
around for a long time.
Yeah, and he was yeah, I don't know. It's the level of talent as soon as you join the server, especially as somebody who's never joined anything like this before. I was immediately like, oh my god, right, okay, I understand how to do this. Like, you're learning from the best straight away. And it's so cool. It's so fucking cool. Yeah.
I agree 100%. They've done a very good job of French said something. I learned on other servers and it shows. Well, I mean, I learned on other servers too. And, you know, I think that I've learned a lot from this server as well. And I think my RP has changed.
Yeah.
B, get a grip. Take a drink. Take a second. Oh my. Okay.
He's always got the one-liners. How does he do it every time?
He needs a moment.
Oh, but yeah, the quality of RP is so high, and it's like the bar is raised all the time too, with like emotional scenes and like even med RP. I had no idea. Oh my god, the first week we were on the server, my character thought that she pronounced cholera like cholera, and she walked around Blackwater yelling about how the cholera was a problem. And then she was KO'd by a horse running into her. And she was fucking in the med tents with Sparks yelling, I'm bleeding out of my ass. It's got to be the cholera. And like this poor fucking medic is sat there trying to RP this out. I had no idea how to even do the like /me commands. I had no idea how any of that worked.
You didn't know how to even do /me.
No, I was KO'd. I was like, I think I'm okay. I'm bleeding from the ass. Please help me. And now it's so funny because I look back on that and I'm horrified with the serious RP we do. I'm like,
yeah, we're so serious now.
We're so
Your
serious.
first injury was like, my asshole is bleeding.
And some of the shit we did back then, it's so fucking funny. You just look back and you're like, oh, that was a faux pas, and I had no idea.
And
like,
that's okay, though, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very good.
I love people learning. For serious, I do.
It's fun helping people learn as well, without breaking the immersion too much. But yeah, very funny. I mean, even when we first started, we occupied the Kerrigan Ranch for a time, and we were like, looking back, we were telling all these like big bad server baddies like, oh, this is our land now. You can't hunt here anymore.
Oh,
and like,
so funny.
The fucking audacity. I'm like looking back like, oh my god.
I can't believe I said that to Baz Kerrigan.
Literally.
Hey, yeah.
We said that to Buzz Buxton. We told him off for hunting on the land. He was inside that like ring, and we were like, "Oh, this is our bed and breakfast now. You can't hunt here. Like, you need to, if you want to hunt, do it outside the fence, just not inside the fence." And that's really funny because months later, I'm like doing ranger patrols with him, and I DM'd him the other day, and I was like, "You remember this time when we told you off and tried to get you to pay us like $50 to hunt here?" Actual con artists.
That's funny. Oh, interesting. I'm learning so much about Francesca Bright.
She started as a criminal though. Like, I mean, you had Sparks on the podcast, so I know you know. Like,
well, yeah, I think I know the history of all those people. So that is interesting.
And
I think McGregor
criminal
knows that too. But
yeah, I think he knows bits. Yeah.
Yeah, he does actually. No. Yep.
But I mean, they all started as like flash fire criminals. They were just gonna be like maybe dead in a few days, and they 5 months later still playing them.
That's funny how that happens, right? Is like you start this character thinking, I'm just gonna get my feet wet and just kind of like figure some things out, and then you fall in love with them and you play them for a year.
Yeah. And suddenly everything hurts and everything's real and it's
yeah. And you go through crazy breakups that make everybody sad. And you know, you have your own little journey and you're like trying to become a ranger and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chapters in this journey so far, but oh my god, and I was reading through the rules last month, and I was reading all about like the value of life, thinking back to when Sparks, Frankie, Michael, and Dallas all took turns shooting each other in the ass with a handgun so they could get matching scars. And I was like, and now Frankie's gun that she uses all the time is called the Shooting Scar after that incident. But it's just so funny to me looking back. And I think it's Bianca that stitched us all up, and it must have been the most like ridiculous thing. 4 of us like limping in, like, we shot each other in the ass cheek.
There's far more ridiculous things that happen on the server.
Absolutely.
But it was, funny
looking at
because
the value of life.
I don't think
Shooting
you
each
guys
other.
would do that now. I don't think you'd do
No.
that at all. Sparks
No,
would be like, "Are you
we-
crazy?
Yeah.
Put the gun away."
There's no way I'm doing
kill
that.
somebody.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, it was Michael back then as well. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. And we forced him into it. We coerced him into getting his ass cheek shot. So, good times.
You forced
Story
Michael
that
into
will always
his
be
ass
told.
cheek shot.
And he's never forgiven us. But I don't know. It's so funny how many experiences and memories are packed into just like 4 months or 5 months being on the server now.
Yeah.
And just how much I've learned as a role player as well, just being able to be around
Do you
so
think
many
that?
talented people.
Do you think you learn, like, you take lessons from this and apply it to D&D and vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of where the base of it came from, I did like a fair few acting lessons last year where just out of fun, because I was like, I kind of just want to try it and see what it's like.
Mhm.
And learning how to build out a character and things, and then kind of taking that into D&D, and then taking what I learned from D&D into RP.
Okay.
But RP is strange because it felt so natural straight away to like embody an entire person and like RP it out and
Yeah.
try and remain completely immersed in this world. It just felt completely natural, and then that meant that I could take that back into D&D and like try and remain immersed in the character
Ooh,
and
yeah.
feel like the
Okay.
character, and not feel separated from them as such.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all feeds into each other.
Do you think that
Yeah.
like the setting and like the beauty of the game and like how real it feels like help you make that connection and like
Yeah,
kind of
I don't think
become your character?
you couldn't do it in any other game, for me at least. Like I could not RP in another game, I don't think. Like
Yeah.
it's so there's just something like, oh my god, the amount of tense, insane conversations I've had, and it's suddenly there's a thunderstorm and it's
Starts to
pouring with rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, it's so cinematic, it hurts. It's
yeah.
so cool.
I literally
love it.
just had one of those last night.
Yeah.
And afterwards, me and PB were like, the thunder.
So good.
The scene was so good. Even
It's
though
just-
it
I
got
love-
interrupted, it didn't matter. It was still so awesome.
Yeah, the moments. It just creates moments.
Yeah.
And the amount of times you can go to the same spot over and over in the game, and it looks different every single time because the game is just so
The
flexible.
weather.
It's so it's so fluid. It's fucking awesome. I don't know. There's just everything. The fact that like you can shoot the birds in the sky, like everything just adds to the immersion so much. And and I actually love as well that it's so gorgeous, but there are quite a lot of limitations, and that forces you to have to be creative with
Mhm.
the way you approach the world, and that's
Yeah.
so much fun. I love that there isn't a bunch of mechanical stuff handed to you. You have to like work
Yeah.
for it, and
There's a
other people
balance.
have to work with you. Yeah, and it's finding that trust with other role players, where it's like if you give them an opportunity to try something where it's like this doesn't exist in the game, but I'm handing you, a box of this, and
Mhm.
seeing if they're actually going to take the opportunity to work with it, or if they're just going to be like, "What? What do you mean? What are you trying to
Yeah.
hand me? I don't understand."
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's very fun. And I feel like in the past, like with older roleplay platforms, like it was, and even with this game, like earlier on, before we started playing on the server, it was more of that. It was more of that like /me roleplay and less like mechanics built into the game. So like you kind of had to like, if you're like, I'm a gunsmith, like you kind of just had to
Pretend. Yeah.
just make believe
so
that you're a
good.
gunsmith, which can be really good. And like when it's all in /me's, like the sky's the limit. You can do anything.
Mhm.
Like you could roll and be like, oh man, I got a really good roll on this gun, and then you role play out like the most pristine piece of
Mhm.
weaponry you've ever seen in your life is handed to you. Like, like
Yeah.
that's super cool.
Well, it's like Dallas's hand. Like in the game, he got his hand blown off by dynamite, and now he has a metal hand.
Oh,
But obviously in
really?
the game, and in the game you don't get to like. Obviously, there's no
Yeah.
mechanic for that. So instead, he just RPs it all the time. He's like, we got into fist fights today, and he was just like unbuckling his metal hand and putting it on the side and stuff like that. And it's like an entire process, and he does it
I
all the
didn't even
time.
notice that. I was
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, and you wouldn't either unless you were really paying attention. And there's
Right.
so many little things like that. And playing with Johnny Blams is it was seeing the way he RP'd through the /me, I think was a big deal. Like the way he would just walk over to a bit of wall and be like, hangs his coat up on a
Yeah,
hook, and like he
seeing that
paid a
detail.
lot of attention to detail. Yeah, and I think that helps the immersion too. Um,
Absolutely.
Steam players do that. Very
It's
cool.
yeah, it can be like it's time consuming, right? So a lot of people don't like doing it, and a lot of people skip over it, or at least like kind of rush it, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
because
And that's
it
something I've
takes
had to
time.
learn. I've had to learn that like sometimes you are rushing and you're like, oh, my objective today in the game is to go and hunt because I have no food. So you're like, I know what I want to do in the game today. And then if you get caught up and someone's like, oh, can you just help me with this? You're like, no, 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 I've got an objective I want to do. And I have to stop myself and be like, no, this is the experience. Is like not having objectives. It's just to see what happens to you in the world. And like if you
Yeah,
stop that and you just constantly have these objectives of like, oh, this is what I want to get done today, you're kind of losing that whole point of this experience of this role play, and it's fun to just let go of that and be like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll just do whatever happens to us. Like, fuck it, right? um but yeah, sometimes I do have to remind myself of that because I'm like get really stuck in my own head of like, no, I want to do my own thing.
yeah, and like B could tell you, and from my experience as well, we both played law characters, obviously, and it's we come across those situations too where we're like, okay, we have an objective right now, and then somebody's like, hey, can you help me with this? And where it's kind of this like it's can be overwhelming, right? Where it's
Mhm.
like we're going to do something important, or like we're going to question something about somebody about something, or like we heard that there's some bad guys over here, and then somebody else comes up to us and says, hey, like this guy just punched this other dude over there.
Mhm.
So it's like,
That must be really hard to manage as law as well, especially when you have to write reports and actually do like work in the game.
yeah,
That
yes, yeah.
must be
B was a
frustrating.
sheriff,
Oh,
Esme.
pain.
Esme, Sheriff Esme. Yeah. I had
Uh,
I a lot of law stuff I find is just delegating. A
Hmm.
lot
mhm.
of it is just basically being like, we're got XYZ to do. We need to really figure out who needs to do what. That's a big part of it. Because the thing is, I'm I get very overwhelmed by a lot of storyline, um, because I find myself being very stretched really, really thin. Because if I'm not giving like 110% to a certain storyline that I might be like heavily involved, I find that a lot of the time, when other people bring, stuff into the law department, I'm like, I can't because I need to focus on this one thing that I'm doing. So a lot of
Mhm.
it is just basically talking to the rest of the people who you work with and being like, hey, would you be willing to pick this up? Or would you be willing to go and investigate that or do this or XYZ? Just because I think as well, if you find yourself being spread too thin a lot of the time, you're not really going to get the rich role play that you want anyway.
Mhm.
Because you're constantly, if your mind is constantly in other places while you should be in a moment with other people,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like,
You're thinking
time and
about
Yeah.
the
place.
next thing you have to do instead of
Yeah,
focusing on this scene that could be glorious that's right in front of
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I feel
It's been a
guilty
really
about that all
good.
the time. I feel guilty
Yeah.
about that all the time. Somebody will come up to me and like they just give me this beautiful setup, and I'm like, I was literally just walking right over there because something crazy is happening right over there, and I can't. You set me up perfectly, and I can't do it, and I feel
Mm,
so bad, and I feel like I'm ignoring RP, and it sucks. But it's like,
there's only so much you can do.
yeah, I can't be everywhere at once, you know?
Exactly. I mean, RP's really helped me in that regard, like through like therapy and all sorts of stuff. Like really struggling to be in the moment and not be looking forward to the future constantly.
Oh,
And RP has really helps like keep bringing you back to like be in the moment, accept and explore the moment, and in a way that actually helped me in real life. Because now
that's awesome.
in real life, more it's like I need to. This is life. This is what you're doing. You're living it. Like you shouldn't be waiting for the next thing to happen constantly. You are every single minute. You're living your life, and you should try and enjoy that for what it is. And RP really helped kind of drive that point home a lot, actually, which is awesome.
That's
Absolutely.
yeah. I I
Yeah.
I think that's so cool that you've learned a lesson from RP. I think a lot of people do.
Mhm.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh
for
yeah, they
sure.
do.
I've
Like
learned
I
a
mean,
lot
it's
like,
about like relationships, like friendships, just like general person
Mhm.
to person. And even like I had a little epiphany last night that I spoke about in game today, where it was just that feeling of uh being confident in your own decisions and stuff like that, which is something I always struggled with in real
Yeah.
life. And it was bleeding into role play so heavily where I'd second guess role play decisions out of character where I'm like, oh, should I have done something else there? And I'm like, no, just like be confident in your decision. It's the character. And then I was like, so why not I just do that in real life? Just be confident in my decision. Like
Yeah.
it's not hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lessons are mad.
fuck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
There's definitely shit. Like, there are times in my life where I'm like, I've I'm the kind of person where I panic if I have to go and talk to like a bank person and they're like, they ask me to repeat something. Like I'm like,
This wasn't on the script.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it's literally like, there are times in my life where I've literally sat down with myself and been like, you know what? Esme is the kind of character who doesn't give a fuck and will just like, barrel through something or talk over the top
Do
of
you
people or
okay?
get her point across.
I have to know. Do you role play out the scenario in Esme's voice a little bit
Yeah.
before you go into the bank now?
Legit. I don't know if either of you two do this. I'll be driving somewhere and I'll talk in my character's voices while
Oh
I'm
yeah.
driving.
That's half the
Yes.
fun, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll literally, the amount of times where I'll literally be upstairs, just not even, nobody's home. Nobody's home. But I'll just be like literally talking to my dog or to the piece of bread that I'm fucking buttering. And I'm literally just in my
What
character's
do you
voice.
say to the bread you're buttering in Esme's voice? I'd like that sound clip, please. Hold on. I'm ready.
Wow, damn, you looking hella snacky right now. Holy shit. That
Okay.
kind of stuff. I'm
We got
having a time.
we got
I don't
that.
know.
We got
Don't
that.
ask me questions. Okay, look, I just really enjoy, I just enjoy being goofy characters
We
in
yeah.
in life, okay? It's fine. It's acceptable. But
I need to
yes,
know if you find as well, like, because I'm quite introverted, but I try and play a really extroverted character, deliberately to try and like, it's not so bad pushing yourself out your comfort zone, talking to people. I mean, I still hate it in real life, but it has made me feel much more confident in like talking to people in general and like not feeling so afraid of the judgment because
yeah,
I'm like, I can do it in a roleplay character. I'm faking it
fuck yeah.
and I'm making it. That's how this
Mhm.
works, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the hardest things, which role play really helped me with, again, in your kind of shoes, was when I've never been like a leadership type person. I've always
Mm,
been more of a somebody else tell me what to do type person.
yeah.
And I'm very go with the flow. I have been exceptionally mouse like for a vast majority of my life. And then when I started role playing and I made characters who were like way more assertive, really loud, didn't care, I was like, actually, you know what? Like I can do this in real life too. Like I can do that. I
Yes.
remember, yeah, like even with Esme, where, I had people, and this is something that really stresses me out, was I had people literally on the law team being like, what do we do? And I had to be like, oh,
Mhm.
Worst
I
nightmare.
have to make decisions. So I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. Okay. So, but it really helped because now I definitely feel way more comfortable in situations where somebody's like, hey, can you like figure out what we need to do in this scenario? Like, what do we need to do? And I'll be like, oh, okay, actually, I think I have some concept of this, and just going and doing what needs to be done. But there's
Yeah.
definitely aspects to roleplay which can be like exceptionally therapeutic. Like I've heard people before be like, I've like needed a good cry like all week and I got to cry in RP and now I feel great. Like that
Okay.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like it is amazing what roleplay can do. I think it's just one of those things where it's really liberating to be able to be so free with like emotion
Mhm.
and laughter and, being able to express parts of yourself freely
Yeah.
and happily, you know? I
I
think
think that's
it's
partly why it's so addicting as well.
yeah,
It's like
yeah, exactly.
so
So
You know?
addicting.
concentrated.
It is addicting.
Oh
Hmm.
God. Well, I've
And
talked
I
to many
think
people
it
who
is.
feel like it's therapeutic to role
Yeah.
play. And like you kind of get to explore things that you're not so comfortable exploring yourself because even though there's a lot of you and your characters, like there is that little bit of separation, which
Hmm.
makes it
There's
easier for
always
you to take
separation.
risks. And
Yeah.
also, you always have the option to just shut it down. Like if
Hmm.
Yeah.
you're like, I'm done, you can just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like that safety net where like you can take those risks and you can say that thing to that person
Yeah.
and it's like at the end of the day this is fake and you can disconnect from it if you need to.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely times in RP where I've literally been like, I'm shutting this down because I don't need to do this. Don't need to do it.
Hmm.
Don't need
Mm.
to. And that's really quite liberating, quite freeing, you know. Guess having
Yeah.
like a sense of control over, the situation, how you decide to deal with it. Yeah. It's quite
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah. I
I guess
mean, my character they just ended their relationship in the game because in
Mm.
real life like I've been going through like a pretty like hard breakup, and I'm like I don't need this like added pressure and stress of like this romance storyline
Yeah.
right now. Like it's
Hmm.
just too much. So I was like, and it's amazing that you can just kind of like talk to our character and be like I need to like step away from this if that's okay, and like I'm warning you now so that we can both prepare ourselves for it, and then in game you can like just do it nice and cleanly and neatly, and then like and have that control over it. And it's nice
Mm.
that and now our characters are like good friends still and stuff, and we're able to just move past it. um
Yeah.
yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, it
That
is
is
nice.
really great when you find somebody to role play a relationship with that is set healthy boundaries and you have an understanding and it's somebody you trust and
Yeah.
you can go to them out of character and just be like, hey, like I kind of need this to happen for me out of
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not the same as probably what would have happened in character, but I need it. And
Yeah.
they'll do that for you. Like that's very important to have somebody like that when you role play something that's so intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because it is, and we all
absolutely.
strive for that like intimacy. I think in the
Mhm.
RP scenarios, and we all strive for like I don't want to call it realism because I think you have to have that element of like fantasy to it. Otherwise, it is too much. Like it is
Mhm.
Mhm.
too
Yeah, there always will be, I
heavy.
think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
At the
But
end of the day, you're pixels on a screen, you know?
yeah, exactly.
with an
And it's
excellent
funny because you can
chin.
feel really intense. Yeah, with an excellent chin. No bit. Um. You can feel these really intense emotions, and then like sit back and be like, "Oh, that was all just pixels. Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn
Mm.
it."
Well, I
It's
think,
mad.
with acting and stuff, which is what this
Mhm.
is, you want to accurately portray a human experience,
Hmm.
Mhm.
within the realms of reality that you're given. But I think it's really, really nice to be able to kind of have that ability to create something that other people can pick up and relate to, you know? And I think that's really fun. Like, I don't know, do either of you I actually don't know if you do, Orkish. Do either of you have acting experience in the
You do know that, but you forgot. That's okay.
I probably did, yeah, I have a terrible memory.
Yeah, I used to do plays.
That's
Mm.
right, yes. I remember that now.
The theater.
Theater.
Right,
In
you,
the
Theater.
Leah.
theater.
D- very tiny amount
Tiny amount.
of
High
yeah.
school drama counts.
I was in a game once. I was in a game a couple of years ago. Where they basically just thrust a little script on me, and they were like, "Okay." It's like one of those real life games, like a motion. What do you call them? FMV, full motion video games. Where it's like
Okay.
Oh,
film,
cool.
basically, but like choice based. Um, but yeah, they wanted me as like a special guest, so they just threw a script at me and were like, "All right,
Whoa.
do a screen test, and then come over on this day and we'll film at this location." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's
But
cool.
also, I'm a presenter, so I do a lot of on-camera stuff anyway. So there's like, it's not the same, but there's enough crossover that it's like
Yeah.
you can use some of those skills.
What have you presented for?
I used to present for Xbox UK. I
Wow.
recently, but yeah, I recently did Dying Light 2 is coming out in a few days actually.
Oh
And they did a
wow.
whole series of like developer like shows. It's like these huge fucking shows they did that they put on Twitch and had like they paid loads of people to watch them live on stream and stuff like that. But I was presenting that. Um, but it's a strange work in progress.
How long have
But
you been doing that?
only a couple of years or so. I used to work for Xbox UK, and kind of just branched out from there. But yeah, it's
Oh,
accidentally kind of fell into it.
that's fantastic.
I had no idea. That's so cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it all came from streaming as well. Like I was just a live streamer. And then yeah, I just got started working with Xbox UK, and then just sort of built up a little show reel based off that. And now I get kind of approached from. I've got like a few things in the pipeline that I just get approached for. All just based off streaming, which is awesome because that's what I wanted. I got into streaming because I wanted to do acting and I couldn't afford it because I had no money. I was in debt. I was in a horrible place. So I
Hmm.
couldn't afford to have acting classes. So I started streaming.
You got
And
into
then,
streaming to become an actress.
yeah. And then we've ended up, it happened in a really weird way. So anyway, sorry. I
That's awesome.
completely took over your question, but carry on.
Oh,
that was
that's
the whole point.
yeah. That is the point.
Oh, most long-winded answer.
Oh, it's fucking
That's so
great.
cool.
Well, that's awesome. Hell yeah. Was there a particular reason why you wanted to get into acting?
I just always loved it. I did like plays and stuff in high school, but I was always academic. Like I always got pushed into doing like biology and stuff. So I just never really got that outlet. But I always just really liked the idea of it. Just the idea of like accessing those emotions and stuff and being able to portray them in a way that connects with other people was always just something that really appealed to me. And because I was just a dramatic bitch, I just like being the center of attention. I don't know. I love creating a performance that is convincing and that people enjoy and that connects with them emotionally. So and yeah, so now I get to do that with voice acting and stuff, and that's why D&D is so fun as well. Doing D&D shows because it really lets you like flex that a bit, but it's still a game, so it's you still get the element of like fun game
Fun.
tactical stuff
Yeah.
too. Yeah, and the improv side of RP is the hardest part, though. I think staying in a character that feels distinct, but you're improvising everything. Like I can't. I don't think I could be a bad guy because I don't think I genuinely just couldn't do it. I'd feel too terrible. Like I
It's
would be
hard.
so bad at it. Yeah, it scares me like seeing it flow so easily improvised sometimes, and I'm like, oh my
Oh.
god, that's
Yeah.
on the top of your head, isn't it?
Oh
It's
wow.
right there. I find it fascinating. But that improv side is the hardest part because when you're playing a bad guy or any character through a script, you you're preordained. Like it's already there. You know where you're going to end up. You know what the
Hmm.
journey's going to be. But with your improv, you- you're just you're making judgment calls, and that's hard enough in real life. Never mind doing it as a character.
Yes.
Especially when you're law. Like that law
Uh,
is I could never do law ever. I have so much
you
respect.
couldn't? You don't think
Nope.
so?
Nope, not a chance.
Why
Not a
not?
chance. I decision paralysis. I
Decision
can't imagine
paralysis.
that
You
having
could
to
be a
lead.
deputy.
I literally understand your plight because I was in the exact same
You were
boat
a
for the
sheriff.
longest time. Yeah, I know. But when I wanted to be law for the longest time. I was so desperate. I was like, I want to do it, but I'm so fucking scared of having to make decisions and
Yep.
of
Hmm.
like having to be like in control of a situation or just generally having to be some kind of person that, the entire civilian base either looks up at or down at. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, oh God, like that is fucking terrifying. But it's one of those things where it's like, you think it's going to be absolutely daunting and scary and terrifying. And I can guarantee you it's really not. It's
Ah.
it's one of those things where once you're in it, you're like, oh, actually, I kind of
You
really like this. The thing that also I really enjoyed was just the fact that you get like a group of people every day. You always have role
Mm.
play
Yep.
every day. You have
It's
role
it's
play
Mhm.
every single
the,
day.
That's what I do like, the
yeah.
sound of. It's just
Yeah.
never ending. Like, it's just a fountain, of, like, RP content.
Yeah, and there's plenty of lore people to support you too. Like the entire
Mm.
Mm.
like lore team, literally like you latch on to like certain members of the lore and you become like little, like buddy cop systems where you become really attached to like certain lawmen and you
Mm.
often like go off and do tasks together. And depending on like your time schedule, who you're on with and stuff like that, like you will often run into the same lawman over and over again,
Mm.
and you kind of get like a sense of like community in that way. You also get to be a part of like so many people's stories inadvertently
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
intentionally. Like it's really it's a really cool experience. I think that everybody at some point should at least consider being lore, because it is one of those things where it's like it's fascinating being on the other side of it, and it's even
Mm.
cooler to be able to be like log in and you have something to do every day. You
Mhm.
have
Yeah, that does sound
something to
fun.
do every day, and
Yeah.
you do make like some really cool like connections and friendships and stuff. And yeah, I loved it when I was there. I just ended up having like pretty serious RP burnout because I've been doing it fucking for like
Mhm.
every day for 6 months,
Yeah.
and just RP in general for the whole year. So,
Yeah.
but
You'll
it
be
is.
back. You'll
Yeah,
be
I will be
back.
back. I will absolutely be back. But
They
it's
all
just
come
one of
back.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I understand completely
Mhm.
your fear around it. I'm so there. I get
Yeah.
it.
Well,
I
that's
But
why I'm
agree
a
with you,
ranger.
Trench. I'm also very excited for Leah's new law character.
I don't well, so before we were doing ranger work, she was a security person, but I
Hmm.
think security is very hard on a roleplay server like this, where
It's tough.
there's no the line that is drawn is like it's so thin.
Yeah.
So like when you're law, you at least have some agency, I think, over the scene a little bit. Whereas when you're security, you're just essentially meat. And you're hoping that your very presence will deter people from being idiots.
It's a
But if
deterrent
some
for the most part. Yeah.
yeah, and if shit goes down, like you are, it's like now what? Like we in game got in trouble with our boss because we were escorting people after a mining trip into a town, and we
Hmm.
get to the town and we just dealt with like the bear and stuff that was in between everybody and got them all there safely. And we get into town and they rush off to the bank to deposit their money right as a bank robbery is about to happen in Valentine. So we're around the corner. They've just got in. They just get
I
off the
was there
horse.
for that, I think.
Yep, a shot rings into the air. I'm like, fucking crash around the corner, like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? And I'm like looking around the corner and I see somebody with their hands up in the air in the middle of the street. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So the person we're supposed to be helping escort, who's just running on their own, is now a hostage in this bank robbery. And
Oh.
we like I'm like, Dallas, get on the horse, we're going. And I'm like, we run all the way to Emerald Ranch to send an anon because we've learned that don't telegram from the same place it's happening from. That's a terrible idea every single time. So we go to Emerald Ranch and then we get dressed down, but like third party gossip. Like not even to our faces, just third party gossip about how we didn't handle it correctly and stuff like that. But it's like as
What are
security,
you supposed to do?
exactly. What can you do? Like, what are you supposed to wade in there? Like, sorry, you can't fuck with my client. I'm gonna put a gun in your face now. Like, I don't think
No,
I'm like
law
it's such
would
a
be like,
gray.
get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. Firstly, law would be like, fuck off. Secondly, server rules, like in that situation, is very gray, I think, because you are not necessarily having an interaction with them beforehand. Um, and also,
uh,
like, at that point, just common sense. You wouldn't wade into a bank robbery scenario and be like, oh, take me too. Like, I'll be a hostage too, I guess, because this is my client. So I found that security work was a lot of these really weird little gray area things where it was very difficult to figure out what to do. Right. And like another thing, we went into the Heartlands. We were escorting some, I think in the end, it turned out to be gold bars for for the DiCenzos, and like we're escorting
Oh,
this,
really?
we're escorting this fucking caravan. Like Moretti is there, laden down. He's over encumbered, so he can barely move. He's got these gold bars in him, and Otto is being stuck up by this one guy who's sat there going, "I'm Jimmy Chan, motherfuckers! I'm gonna make it big someday!" And he's like this insane one guy with a cattleman with his gun to Otto's head, and 3 security all stood there pointing guns at this other guy's head. And it's like this really tense exchange where we think we've calmed it down.
Mhm.
But then Otto says something inflammatory and this guy just unloads straight into him. And we were just like,
Oh.
and it's insane because there's like the gunpowder smoke and he just disappears into the reeds. And he just vanishes. And like none of us, and it's like, and then we get dressing down because it's like 3 security and we couldn't even like get this guy. And it's like, holy shit. Like what just happened? It was
Yeah.
insane. And it's so hard to know what to do because like we had a shot and we could have shot him way earlier in the exchange, but like it's not about winning because the story that came from that was so good that it was
Right.
like it didn't matter about like winning or losing the scenario. But it did mean that as security you were constantly just getting like battered for not doing enough or like you know not making the right call or whatever. And it just I hated it. Like as a person,
That is
hated it.
that
Hate it
is
so much.
definitely part of being law. Like
Yeah, and that's what I
people
really
judge
struggle with.
you really fucking hard. Like
Yeah.
They
and
judge
they
you
don't.
if you win, they judge you if you lose.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've seen the way some people's chats behave there as well, and it really bothers me the way some people can't separate player from character, and also can't understand when like it's fun when like there's flawed characters, especially flawed lore, who are like probably doing things that like maybe don't completely make sense. 'Cause that's half the fucking fun of RP. They're not playing perfect lore people. They're playing a character who is a lore person, and like it's so much fun, and yet there's so many people who just don't get it. And they get so frustrated at like their player not being able to win, and it's like it doesn't work like that. And yeah, I
Because
hate
I
that.
think a lot of the time people kind of think that it's about winning or losing, or
Yeah.
at least chat does. Certain, chats definitely
Yeah.
I've seen in the past.
Certain chats.
Certain chats.
You know who you are.
Yeah. I have definitely had chat members who are more concerned about whether their favorite character is winning or losing in a scenario
Mhm.
rather than being excited about the potential role play. And that's okay. I don't necessarily expect like every single, person to necessarily understand that role play is just role play. But
Right.
it is one of those things where it doesn't matter. Like if you go into a chat and you see people like I've seen some real humdingers in
Yeah, I've seen some
people's
humdingers
chats.
as well. But
Humdingers.
also, I've seen people say things in chat.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh.
yeah, I've seen I've seen people say some very slanderous things about a couple of my characters before.
Hmm.
And it is one of those things where I'm like, I don't necessarily mind if people
Mhm.
don't like my character. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like you cannot like my character. Totally okay. However, once it starts to err on the edge of the person playing the character sucks, it's like, okay,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay.
Eject.
You
No!
get a
Not
lot
being
as
able to
law.
defend it too a lot of the time.
Law
Yeah.
have the power to shut down stories. That is
Yeah.
something we talk about this in our law meetings a lot. Like we have the power to end someone's story or to completely divert it.
Mm.
And that's something that we have to take very seriously, and we do. But at the same time, like we serve a purpose on the server that has to be there in order for the server to remain healthy.
Mhm.
So
There has to be that threat of law all the time to keep
Yeah.
everyone on their toes. But at the same time, it's such a hard, again, judgment call to make. Like when it's gone too far and you need to be able to like either let a criminal go because you know it's going to create more fun in the future, or like they need to graciously accept that they've taken the L there and like
Mhm.
there'll be more opportunities in the future. But
yeah, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I play, and I think a lot of characters do this too, but Moonshine like real loosely. Like
Mm.
even if I catch someone in an obvious moonshine cart running an obvious moonshine route and we just got a tip that someone was running an obvious moonshine route right here, I'll still question them. I'm not going to be like, you're under arrest. I'm going to be like, hey, what are you doing out here? And if they give me a good enough reason, I would let them go.
Yeah, because like as a human being, you might be convinced. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right, well,
I've
fair
heard,
enough. Keep going.
I've heard, what have we heard be like, I'm transporting
I
milk?
who was it? Somebody was like, I'm transporting, what was it? I'm transporting medical moonshine, medical grade moonshine. And I was like, you're transporting moonshine? And he was like, yeah, but it's for medical purposes. And
Nice.
I was like, what medical purposes? And they're like, oh, there's this really bad like infectious disease going around, and apparently the only way to cure it is to drink moonshine because it warms up your body enough to kill the virus. And I was kind of like,
Love
oh,
that.
okay. Like I've there's been some real like funny ones that I've had. I've had Kono who flew with a moonshine cart off a cliff to try and evade the law, and completely KO'd his character on the ground because he flew really fucking far.
Which character was that?
Dudley. And yeah, and my character knew his character from forever ago, and so she was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm transporting secrets in bottles. Like it was great. Like there's been some like really funny interactions with moonshining as well. I had another one where Ghost was like trying to convince my character that it was something else. I can't remember what. And my character was like, are you sure it's not moonshine? Like if I go there and I smell it, is it gonna smell like moonshine? He was like, no. But then another person came along and ended up rescuing him in another moonshine cart, weirdly enough. And so the two of them rode off, and then as he rode off, he was like, by the way, it is moonshine, and then continued on because I couldn't do anything about it. It's fun. Like it can be really fun. Like I've had some really like fun moonshine cart chases and stuff as well.
Once you get over that, again, like winning versus losing mentality of like, oh, I should win. I'm a lord and I should win this, or I'm a bad guy, so I want to win this encounter because fuck the law. You can, and you cooperate, because that's what it's all about, right? Cooperating to make something fun happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, everybody should yes and all the time.
Yeah.
Just having a moment. Can we relax, camera? Can we please?
Just keep talking to it.
I'll
Good
gently,
Sweetness.
violently. What do I need to say to it?
I don't know. Trench, do you have any ideas? How does she need to talk to her camera to make it work? He's still here.
Apparently, it doesn't matter. It's broken.
She's gone.
Okay,
Right it.
Okay.
Give me a moment to try and get it working.
That's fine.
But yes, I think as well, like a lot of people forget that, the law are just doing a job, and that's something that people like. The amount of times
I have a question.
that I've heard
What's
people...
lore?
It's been nice being here with you all.
We have
I've
to make
had
fun
such
of her
a nice
accent
time this
at least
evening.
once per.
It's been great. We've had a wonderful time. I'm so glad that you guys turned up. That's the end of the podcast. I will see you all later.
No, it's not.
Goodbye.
No, it's not. You're gone, but you still haven't turned your camera back on.
I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah,
right
come
now.
on. It's only 8:45 in the morning right now.
Yeah, you still got
about hours to go.
Okay, so you've only played one character. You've not touched another character?
No, I have. So actually, my first character was a very British lady called Emmeline, and her very first day on the server was something that I think we later got shouted at for, which was paranormal investigation. She became a paranormal investigator in Valentine with PB's character, Older.
Yeah.
My very first night on the server was the most insane 3 hours ever. Like it was nonstop. Like she appeared in Valentine, accidentally punched her horse. It almost kicked her and KO'd her. And then we ended up seeing a ghost on the bridge near Valentine, and it led us to this murder shack. And inside this murder shack, there was an actual body, like not that body
Yeah.
that's always there, like a person.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was this whole murder mystery of like this woman leading us to her actual death and stuff like that. And I think afterwards we were told that we couldn't do supernatural
Yeah, you have to get
roleplay.
permission for
We
supernatural
had no
roleplay.
idea, which was funny. But this was, I think that rule was implemented after that incident.
Was it?
So yeah, I don't remember, but I have a feeling that it was sometime after. So she was my first character, and I played her for like 3 hours, and then a few days later, PB messages me like, "Hey, we're making some criminals, and we're just gonna go into the desert and have fun." And we was like, "Okay, I'll roll someone up," and she was like, "Oh, we're all being Irish," and I was like, well, I can't do an Irish accent. I guess I'll just be some Southern American kind of thing then, sure. So then I ended
Cool.
up making Checkers, who was an idiot, and she was my throwaway character, who became my main character, Francesca. And then, but now I have a criminal who is out in Tumbleweed, who Maya, we roleplay. We have like a really good chemistry, so we tend to like, we've started making characters together. So we had a couple of criminals, twin characters who were out in Tumbleweed, and we're supposed to be terrorizing other crims, basically. The idea was to just be a pain in the ass to the other crims.
Tumbleweed
However,
is the best town.
it's so good for that as well.
Tumbleweed is the best town, hands down.
The problem
Okay,
is I'm not
you're-
confident enough in her accent or her like voice, so I haven't played her much because I'm like,
Yeah, that's
can't
rough,
get
right?
it down. Yeah, I'm
but
not comfortable.
I've also noticed that like you kind of fall into your voice when you play the character. You can't just be like in your car driving to the grocery store like getting your voice down. You have to kind of play your character, and that's how you get your voice.
Exactly. Like my voice originally for Francesca, like at the moment it's real casual. I can really easily get into the character. But at first it was, I do declare very like formal,
God.
very southern. Yeah. And I had to really fall into this like more natural sounding
Nice.
accent
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah.
But I'm just rolling up a new character tomorrow with Maya. We've had a very nice idea that we're happy with. So we're gonna roll up some new characters and see where they end up.
Fun.
But that should be very fun. Very
New
good.
characters are fun. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I had an old lady character as well, with my friend Aaron, and our thing was basically we just bicker. And I at one point almost hired somebody to take him out. Because like they're one of those like old couples that are constantly at each other's throats, but like, you know, they love each
I
other.
can't wait to be there someday.
Yeah, right. Imagine what's that like?
True love. I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you die. Hey, can you kill this guy for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but none of them are stuck. So Francesca has been the only one that's actually stuck, and I've played more than a few hours of. And I will be very sad when she dies because I'm very attached to her.
She's never
She's a
gonna
big
die.
idiot.
She's gonna live forever.
Yeah, she's immortal. She's too
There's
old for me to
definitely
die.
characters that you get super attached to where you'll be fucked up.
I'm
if they
just
die.
waiting for
Yeah.
the first big one from Rhodes. Like it's gonna happen, right?
It's
Like,
gonna suck so much as well. It always has, right? Like the amount of times that we've all been pretty close to dying at some point or other. And I'm terrified. Like that funeral is gonna fuck everyone up.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that.
Do you think it's gonna be like I wonder if like one person dies and then everybody else either permas or soft permas
Moves
after
out.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like,
I
I'm
think-
leaving the crossing, and then that's it. That's the end of the
Well,
Rhodes.
I think if maybe a month or so ago, yes, that probably would have happened. But
Mhm.
now, everyone's kind of working on their own storylines and has
Spread
enough
out
other
a lot.
connections in the crossing. Yeah, like I know we've got the Ranger stuff, and it will be like heart wrenching. But I think there's enough ecosystem outside of Rhodes to make it okay. But it is gonna hurt.
I think that if somebody dies from Rhodes, then everyone else is just gonna roll in a bunch of criminal characters.
And it's
And
like the
just
server has so many criminals
take
already,
out-
but also.
can always use some more. Like if they're like, I think that there is right now, honestly, with how many criminals have died, left the server, or been put away for a while, like it's not that bad right now.
Yeah, I think I enjoy playing a Civ though. In all honesty, like it's actually been really fun playing a Civ.
Civ roleplay is the fucking best.
It's so because you have to be so creative to fill your time.
I
Like,
I
so
love
good.
Civ roleplay.
It's funny because it's not a lot of people don't respect it as much either because like
Mhm.
everything is dramatic when you're a Civ because everything's scary. Like Bonnie Jack right now is the boogeyman. Like he's
Mhm.
just a guy, but every bad guy is the boogeyman, and you're all terrified of them and waiting for them to show up
Fuck
and
yeah.
fuck you up. And it's
Right.
so
One of my
good. Like there's
favorite
so much
things
tension.
are fuck yeah. One of my favorite things is civs that are actually fucking terrified of criminals.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
is I I had a like my character Ophelia was in a bank robbery and I made her like a massive fucking scaredy cat. And so, and she's very proper, she's very English and, hasn't really seen too much of life. And
Mhm.
so when she was in the, being robbed, I was like, I'm gonna make them feel bad because she would be terrified. She's not a Billy Badass. Like she's gonna cry and shit. So I had her like crying and like visibly like shaking and being like, I don't like this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it got to a point where even Baz was like, can we go easy on her? I think she's really upset.
Oh
But
That's
I
good.
Yeah, but that it's one of those things where I think it adds a hell of a lot of like there's supposed to be a divide between civilians, law, and criminals. There's
no.
supposed to be a divide between all of them.
Mhm.
There's not like, it's one of those things where I think more people should be okay with the idea that your character is fucking scared.
And
Like,
vulnerable and like
and
you're
vulnerable.
yeah. We need
Yeah.
those
Hell yeah.
characters.
I guess it does get hard when, I mean, especially as Rhodes, it's like targeted quite a lot. So it's like when the cannibal arc was coming, everyone's like, it does get hard to RP in the end where it's like you can't go anywhere alone because you're also terrified of being grabbed by a cannibal or something. Like you're trying not to be like Billy Big Balls about it and be like, yeah, I don't fucking care, I'll just shoot him. It's like, no, you wouldn't. In real life, you'd be
Oh,
shitting yourself.
shoot.
Like, yeah, just shoot him. Don't worry, I
Some
can do
people
this.
do roleplay that way though, and it
Yeah. Yeah,
I-
I mean, and there's a deliberate character choice for that, like where it's
yeah.
like, I'm not scared, I can do that, but you have to stick with the consequences of that and not just bounce back from it and be like, oh look, the
Absolutely.
consequences to my actions. Well, I don't care about that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
revive myself.
Yeah.
um, but
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, it definitely. It sounds like fucking Rhodes is popping the fuck off. I wanna
yeah, there's a
It
lot
is.
happening.
It's I would say on any given day there's a point where there might be a roads bubble or maybe more than once.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've jumped in on my character Tui like once or twice, and I get very intimidated by the amount of people who are there, and I get very nervous, and I'm like, there's so many people here, and I'm scared. But
yeah.
it
You and Greenwich should have like a bodyguard off. I can't wait for that RP.
yeah, probably.
Join the
I mean,
Moulet crew.
yeah, whatever. Right now Tui is Herbie's bodyguard, which is,
Oh,
I
that's
can't wait
great.
for that moment when Herbie and Tui run into Coop and his bodyguard, Greenwich's character, like
Because fucking
the
Krennic as Carl
stare
Moulet does
down.
this thing where he's like, no, just stop that, just stop that. I need to do a visual scan with my eyeballs, so just stop that. And okay, you're safe. And it's just like the funniest fucking thing. Oh god, I can't. The scenarios he's gotten us into, where it's again that divide between serious roleplay and like not serious. But like you've got the serious roleplay where us as a group have visited up north to the near the Wapiti tribe, and we're getting told
Yeah.
off by one of the Wapiti for like making a faux pas. But then you've got
Yeah.
Carl Moulet there going, "Excuse me, sir, stay away from my client, please." Like taking it absolutely not serious in the slightest, and you're like, "This is so
Fucking
hard to make
Greenwich.
that work." It was so good. I loved every second of it.
Oh.
But you've got that part of your character that's like, this is really serious, and that part of you as a player that's like, this is hilarious, and I don't want this to end. Please, I want to encourage this so badly. Yeah, I love it.
That is really good. I wish I was there for that.
Yeah.
Hyro's like, you're on sacred land, and he's like, excuse me, sir.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Oh,
Uh,
that's funny.
encouraging bad behavior is my favorite.
What's that?
I said encouraging bad behavior is my favorite.
That whole storyline was fun, where like the the disrespecting like the native property and
Mm,
stuff like that. They had like a big scene about it.
yeah, it wasn't
Gregor
on mine
sat
for
there
that one.
silently.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a whole thing, and I've had a lot of interesting discussions about that in and out of character, mostly
Mhm.
out of character, because I think there's the way I put it is there's a lot of like native RP where you don't know you're making a faux pas in certain
Mhm.
areas or something for that culture. Whereas like you know the rules of, I don't know, say the law, right? You know when you're breaking a rule, and you know when you're being deliberate in doing so because you know the way that that society works there. But in
Mhm.
an area where you don't understand like implicitly as a player how that society works, it's hard to know when
As a kid.
you, yeah, like as a character, if you're deliberately breaking that to be difficult, or if it's an accidental choice that you then get into an awkward RP scenario with. Um, but yeah, there's it's quite a hard thing to work with, I think, especially as like in England, like we don't have any knowledge of anything
Right?
really like along those
I
cultural
didn't even
lines. Like
think
it's
about
complete.
that. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Like
Yeah,
we learn
yeah,
about Native American culture
yeah,
in school a little
yeah.
bit, not as
I
much as
don't
we
have any
should.
concept of it either, so
But
yeah.
yeah, you
So you're
guys
just
who
going in
aren't
blind.
even from here are like,
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I can like obviously in New Zealand have our own, set of history with Maori and stuff like that. So
mm-hmm.
I can kind of grasp, based on just the stuff that happened here.
It was
But
it was bad.
yeah, but I also have like very little to no concept
Right.
of, the kind of history that is happened there in America. It's not something that we're taught,
It
really.
wasn't good.
yeah.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
there's no like innate knowledge there for you to like work off of
Yeah.
and build on. You're just kind of like, I don't know what's good or bad. I don't know what's right or wrong. Is this normal? Like, what
Even
is happening? Is
considered that.
this?
Gregor wouldn't
Yeah,
know anything. He'd be like, well,
yeah, exactly. And it's there's quite a few things like that, even just American culture, like that you wouldn't be aware of.
yeah.
But that's kind of the fun of figuring out in RP, as long as people don't take it personally out of character, because then that's a difficult line.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, it is one of the things. Like, I'm very unaware of like a lot of American history, and so a lot of the time, when I'm role playing with in an in an American setting, and people like bring up, like American things, I have no concept of them, but
Yeah,
I'll be playing like an American character, like a Southern character, and I'll be like,
yeah,
I'm supposed to have some kind of knowledge of this, and I have
Yeah.
none.
yeah.
Like
Like,
people being like, I had like Esme's from Arizona, and people were like, "Oh yeah, whereabouts in Arizona?" And I was like,
Phoenix.
don't ask. Yeah.
Phoenix.
Where's the biggest place? Literally say with
Uh,
Francesca. She's from
a place
Atlanta.
with a
It's like,
lot of
where are you from?
cactuses.
Georgia? Where from in
Yeah,
Georgia? Atlanta?
yeah,
Perfect. That's all you need. What part of
yeah.
Atlanta? That's when you're screwed. I
Mm-hmm.
got
I
that on.
didn't.
I had a character that was from London. Uh,
Oh,
that
okay.
was
Okay.
awful. That was an awful
Yeah.
experience. I think I ran into Dust Monkey, and I was like,
That's the worst
"Hey,
thing.
I'm from London," and he was like, "Oh yeah, mate. Whereabouts then? What part?
Alright.
Oh yeah, the East End. What
Thanks,
part of
Richard.
East End then?" I'm like,
What a bastard.
Did he sound like
"Fuck."
Otis?
He's,
That's so
did he
good.
sound like Otis? No, he sounded like Dust Monkey. All right, I'm not a magician. B.
That's why I can't do an Irish person, because like I'm working on my Irish accent slowly. But
Mm-hmm.
any actual Irish person immediately will go, no. That's fucking
I
wrong.
I
feel
get that too
I'm
with
so
my
self-conscious
character.
about accents.
People come into my chat and are like, "Is this your Scottish accent?" It's awful. But then the
Oh
next
yeah.
day, somebody will be like, "I'm from Scotland, and you're doing a really good job with your accent."
Yep. Every day. But it's really funny, the accent police. It's like that's not a
Yeah.
real Scottish accent. It's like you go 5 minutes down the road, mate, and your accent sounds completely different. Like fuck
Yes.
off. It's
I've
no one
had people
accent.
come into my chat and be like, "That's a Southern accent. That's cute."
Yeah.
Your
Mhm.
Southern
I'm
accent
like,
is fine because guess what? There's like 15,000 Southern accents.
yeah,
Mhm.
I read like somebody was, I can't remember who it was, but forever and ever ago, somebody came into my chat, back when I actually streamed, and was like, and
You.
was like, I'm from the South. What part of the South is your character from? And I was like,
You tell
uh,
me.
I was like, I don't know.
That's
And they were like, oh, I'm from the South and I can't figure it out. And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I'm trying my best to make it
they
sound
they
Southern. If it's vague enough, that's good. And they were like, oh, no. I mean, they're like, it's really, really bad. Like, this is a really bad attempt. Like, this is terrible. And I
Oh
was like,
man.
that person.
ah, ah.
Your Southern accent is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the amount of people who come into my chat and are like, that's a Southern accent, lol.
If it's any
I'm like,
consolation, people come into my chat and they say, "Is that supposed to be a British accent?" And I'm like,
That's
"I'm British."
hilarious.
I had
don't know what to
somebody
tell
come
you.
in and
I've
go,
lived here my whole life.
I had somebody come in and go, you've got the worst New Zealand accent I've ever heard.
Really?
And I was like, I'm fucking from New Zealand. What do
It's
you
always so
mean?
funny, and that's why you can never take it seriously because it's
Yeah.
like people
They don't
are
know
dumb.
what they're talking about.
No, they have no idea what they're talking about ever in any
It's
context.
great. It's all right.
But then sometimes you get the ultimate compliment, which is you'll just be in a scene and then someone will come into your chat and be like, "Wait, is this a scene from the game? Like this is a cutscene, right?" And you're like,
Yeah, that feels good.
"That's right, that's right." It's the only time
I
I'm
also
happy.
put my hood on.
Yeah, yeah.
The greatest compliment I ever
Oh, shades.
received was from Derek Mountain, who thought I was a legit man. Because of my old lady character.
You do a
It was
great
like,
man voice.
yeah.
I need to hear it.
Who was like, who was an old lady, but he was convinced that I was a dude playing a woman,
You got some
Wow.
range.
which is
You can dig deep.
which is
That's
what I
The
wanted.
layers. Holy crap.
Yeah. And then when he found out that I was in fact a woman when he came into my stream, he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, hi.
That's so
I'm a
great.
lady."
Can we get a little piece? Let's get a little. Is it Nora? Is that her name?
Yeah, Nora. Yeah, I haven't done her in so fucking long. 'Cause she's
You
dead
did her
now.
like 3 podcasts ago.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God, I can't do it. Hello, my name is Nora Boyle. I'm 99 years old, about to turn 100, which is very exciting. We're
Mhm.
gonna have a really great time together. It's gonna be amazing. There'll be a shitload of whiskey, cigarettes.
Yeah, don't
all
look at
kinds
her
of
and you're
things.
like, this is a dude.
Yeah. We're gonna have
That's so
it's gonna
great.
be a fucking magical time.
Yeah, she used to hit on
That's so
people a
good.
lot too, right?
Nora was a menace.
Mhm.
She had a
God,
peeping
I had a
window.
picture of her at some point. She's
Oh, she was grotesque. But yeah,
really good
I
looking.
I had a peeping window in
Oh,
Valentine because
bathhouse.
in at the bathhouse where I'd go up every time she found out that one of the lawmen was bathing, she'd go up to the window with binoculars and watch them and critique them on whether or not they were cleaning themselves correctly.
You gotta get in
Um,
there.
You gotta use more soap. It's like, it was stupid fun. And then when Valentine got blown up forever and ever ago, the only reason she was really upset was because when she went back to town, she was like, "Oh no," and everybody was like, "Oh Nora, I'm so sorry," because everybody thought she lived there. And she ran over to the bathhouse and her window had been boarded over, her peeping window. And
No.
so she swore that she was going to go out and get the gang that did it because they boarded over her peeping window and that was the only joy she had.
Oh no.
So
Is that how
yeah.
she perma'd?
No, I just made her perma to a heart attack. I was like,
Oh,
the
okay.
old bird's been around long enough.
Had a long
She-
life.
Yeah. And so she permed in front of a couple of her friends. She was just like, I don't feel well. Kaplunk.
Wow. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
It's just
Can you
basically Peter
imagine
Parker.
if
Peter
like
Parker's like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. And then just,
no.
yeah.
No.
Could you imagine if like Michael did that?
That's almost what he did the other day. Like he fucking just collapsed in Saint Denis, and he was just, and then people bring him back, and he's like, "Oh my god, he's got a fever. What's happening? Is he okay? Who knows? He's concocted it in his own head, the little bastard. I don't know if he's gonna be okay. Let's living
Yeah.
life on the edge.
The talent. I love it.
Mhm.
I love everybody so much on this server. They're so good.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
happening to my camera right now? Hello? Oh my god.
Leave your camera alone, Bees.
I
Trying
do
to
kn-
figure out who it is. Judging it.
Literally, I made the joke about fucking Peter Parker, and then this happened. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Is it? Okay, hold on. Give me a moment. Stand
All
by.
right.
You continue
I
on.
saw
Give me a
it,
moment.
Leah.
I'm not yawning.
It's only
I've been-
9:04 in the morning.
It's daylight outside on a wonderful
Oh.
sunshiny Sunday morning in the UK.
That's awful.
Yeah, when did I wake up? Oh, okay, well, I wake up pretty late. I'm basically on Eastern time anyway, so I'm like, I go to bed at like 6
I
a.m.
figured that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to read the first thing I ever sent to you in a DM.
Oh god.
Which was, hi, how much do you care about your sleep schedule? Smiley face.
Yep. I'm basically, I go to bed at 6 a.m. most nights, and then I wake up at like 1 p.m., which I hate, but also love RP so much that I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been awake.
I
for quite a
like
while
staying
now.
up late. I don't know about
I
that
mean,
late.
What's
Like,
staying up late though?
That is a good question.
that's true.
that
This
is
is
a
a
great
construct
question.
we've invented. Doesn't
Yeah, like
really
breakfast,
matter.
right? Why is breakfast food only for breakfast? This is such like
Oh, it
stereotypical
isn't.
thing, but I
Okay.
adore breakfast food.
Breakfast food is the best food on the planet.
Why does
you just
McDonald's
opened
stop
up
it
a
at
door
11 a.m.?
because they're
Bullshit.
idiots.
Yeah, they just don't know
Because
what
they
money
don't
is.
want to be trillionaires.
You
All
want
I want-
a sausage and egg McMuffin at 2 p.m.? That's power.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Are you a sweet or a savory breakfast person?
It doesn't matter. They're all
Savory.
amazing.
Savory breakfast?
I think
Gotta be
savory
savory.
primary,
I'm a
but
sweet breakfast.
sweet is really good too.
Yeah, like
I'll take what I
like,
can get.
Okay, self-proclaimed, I'm a very good baker, but
Okay.
I make the most bomb fucking chocolate chip pancakes, and I will have it with
Yeah.
maple syrup
Sounds good.
and strawberries and cream.
Oh my
and that is
god, all of that?
That is my oh yeah, baby.
Wow.
Oh yeah. If I'm feeling especially decadent
Strawberries,
that morning,
whipped cream,
yeah.
maple syrup, and chocolate.
are you I feel judged. I feel very judged by you in this
Seems
moment.
like why not
I
just
feel
why not just
judgment
take a
seeping from your
bowl of
pores.
sugar and drink it?
Well, this
Fuck
is
you,
more
okay?
convenient.
That's literally cereal, you fuck. That is what.
Crunchy sugared milk. It's just
Exactly. Are
cereal.
you telling me right now that you
No,
don't
I'm
have
joking. That
fucking
sounds amazing. I was just messing with you.
in the morning? Fuck you. It's delicious, and
No, I agree.
I'm
It sounds
stand by it.
delicious.
It is one of my favorite things about going to America. Is like they go big on breakfast food, and you can get like good, I don't know, pancakes, bacon,
Mhm.
waffles, whatever, like in anywhere. It's the best thing. You
Yeah.
don't get that.
True.
Denny's
Yeah, the
is
UK doesn't
great.
have that kind of culture.
The American portion
Denny's.
size fucking blows my mind.
It's
Yes.
okay. It's the lowest tier of breakfast restaurant, but the breakfast food still tastes good.
Okay, well, I'm an IHOP fiend. Like I
IHOP's
fucking love
also
IHOP.
amazing. Yeah.
Denny's makes me feel like I'm
Denny's is,
swallowed bricks. I'm like, that's a full day
yeah.
of bricks in my stomach now. Like, I don't know what it is.
Denny's is just full of drunk cryptids and SCPs.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yes.
say
Yeah.
like come here for Denny's. I would say there's lots of other breakfast places that are far superior. But I'm just saying it's the bottom of
Good
the
in a pinch.
barrel.
Yeah.
And
It'll do.
they still have bacon.
I once
you'll
went
still
to a
get
Denny's and asked for
pancakes.
tea, and they somehow gave me bitter tea. I don't know how that happened, and it was very stressful for me, even as I was drunk.
See, that in America is confusing as well. The first time I went to America and I ordered breakfast, and they go, "How do you want your eggs? Sunny side up, runny, scrambled, blah blah blah," and they give me like 50 billion different options,
Right.
and I'm like, I just wanted eggs. I don't know what over easy. What the fuck is over easy? No one's ever explained this
I
to me.
don't know.
What is
Actually,
over
a good
easy?
point. I don't know what the fuck over easy is either.
It's the same with teas.
I
Like,
always order
sunny side
scrambled
up?
eggs, so I am not the person to ask about eggs.
it's just
Somebody in
mind-blowing.
chat can answer that.
It's,
And they're
there's
like,
a lot of
I know what an
American things
omelet
that don't
is.
make sense to me.
yeah, they're like, "Do you want some unsweetened tea?" I'm like, "Why the fuck would I want unsweetened tea? Are you insane?
You
What's
don't
happening?
you don't drink unsweetened tea?
No."
Oh, okay.
I have tea with milk and sugar. That is my tea.
Mm-hmm.
Tea.
And
Like
then
a
they're
nice,
like,
like a
"Sweet
nice English breakfast. Oh, English
Oh,
breakfast tea.
yes.
English breakfast
Yes.
tea in the morning
It's
with a little
Twinings.
biscuit. Oh!
Mm-mm. There's
Oh,
the shit right
baby!
there.
You can have it with a little ginger
I
nut.
wasn't listening.
Oh,
What did you?
baby!
Is there a reason
Wait.
why B's camera's off and she's shouting like that?
Tea, baby.
Oh God.
The
Tea,
English
baby.
way.
Did I put an
Listen.
NSFW
Yes, we always do
tag
it in the
on?
dark in England, all right? That's
You
how
can
it
always,
is.
because you should know by now that we should consistently have NSFW tagged on this
I-
podcast by now.
Then it is
By now, you
NSFW.
should
Yeah.
know, you should know better. The amount of times
Oh.
that things have been brought up that are unacceptable.
Well,
Ovaries
Trench
is
was
sunny
on.
side up that they flip for just a minute. Oh.
Yeah, so
that makes
ovaries.
sense.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how I make my
Ovaries.
eggs.
It's not
Okay.
cooked all the way through, so it's like runny in the middle.
Uh-huh. Okay. Makes sense.
I'm just like scramble that shit up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a hot
Yeah.
sauce on it anyways till it's drowned.
Actually,
It is
hold on.
correct.
Question. All right, here we go. Scenario. Here's the setup. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Does it have to do with
Okay.
breakfast? Because if not, I'm
Yes,
kind of still
it
on this
does.
subject. Okay.
No,
I'm
okay,
so
it does.
hungry.
Okay.
I know now I want
You-
breakfast food so bad.
I might just Uber eat some McDonald's breakfast.
How fuck
Do
yeah.
it. Please do.
So, you've been out.
Tell us what
right?
you ordered.
You've been out on the town.
Uh-huh.
You've had a really good night. You've drunk several tequilas, maybe a gin and tonic, maybe
Fuck.
a little mojito or
shit-faced.
cosmopolitan. Okay, maybe some champagne. Who knows?
All of
You've
that?
poisoned- Yeah, fuck it. All right. You wake up
Okay,
in the
I'm
morning.
unconscious.
Okay. You wake up in the morning.
Mhm.
All right. You wake up in the morning. You smell like last night. Everything's
Oh,
a
God.
blur. Your
Yeah.
teeth are fuzzy. Okay.
Oh.
Everything
Oh.
is gross. All right.
Yeah.
Your whole body
Ugh.
feels limp. Okay.
Mhm.
What is your hangover food? What is the thing that you have first thing in the morning when you're hungover?
Nothing?
Oh,
I don't think I want any food.
I do. When I'm hungover, I go and get eggs Benedict, hands down.
Oh.
I've never had
I
eggs Benny.
see the sauce, that
So good.
Eggs Benedict sauce is so rich. If I'm
It is
hungover,
so-
I'm throwing that up.
Yeah.
There's no way. What is it called? The Eggs Benedict sauce? It's like the
It's butter, isn't it? It's just like butter.
got a
Hollandaise.
name.
Hollandaise.
hollandaise. Yes, it's delicious, but I'm like, so much. oh.
Oh yeah. Eggs
I hear
Benedict.
greasy food is good for hangovers. Is that true?
English breakfast. Yeah, you go your builder's breakfast. Go to a greasy calf.
Okay,
Okay.
tell me what an English breakfast is. That's like sausage and bacon or something?
Yeah, sausage, bacon, baked beans, fried tomato, kind of just there
Baked
because you're like, I
beans?
should have a vegetable here. Yeah, baked beans, like delicious baked beans and tomato sauce.
Wet beans.
Wet beans, toast, black pudding, and eggs.
What's the pudding? What did you say?
Black pudding. You
What's
should know
black-
this.
What is black
I
pudding?
know a black
Scotsman.
pudding.
It's blood pudding. It's
Oh,
essentially
blood
like
pudding. Okay. It's like really, it's kind of salty, right? No?
a little bit, yeah, not
Yeah.
overly.
I don't know. I've never had it before.
Saltier than not salty, I guess. It's kind of one of
Taste-
those things that sounds disgusting,
Do I need to
and
do
then I
research
would
on this?
never try it. No, I wouldn't recommend googling it. Honestly, it sounds horrifying, and then you eat it, and you're like, this. Every part of me wants to reject this, but I really like the taste of it.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, it's like I
horrifying.
would never in my life ever want to try haggis. No,
Really?
no,
That's just like seeds and shit, isn't it?
no. I can't imagine.
It's a sheep's stomach. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, it's got
I
like
can't. No. No. Absolutely
mean,
not.
black pudding is blood sausage, which is pork or beef blood with pork fat or beef suet and a cereal, usually oatmeal, and it's all like squished
That
together.
sounds like
and
it
then
would
you fry
actually be really good.
It's just blood, basically, which is horrifying. Like that's. And the more I think about it, the less I want to eat it. But then if you put it in front of me, I would eat it. Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm ordering it from McDonald's right now.
But it seems to be on this menu here. I don't know. McDonald's fries, to be honest, usually my go-to. I'm really basic.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
basic.
You
geek.
can't really go wrong with that,
Actually,
right?
One time when I was
No.
super drunk, I ordered $90 worth of McDonald's in a taxi cab.
What?
How? What did you get?
Order for the entire block.
So I was going back to my friend's place,
$90.
and I was super wasted, and I was in a taxi, And I was like, give me all these things. And I basically ordered
I
so
can see
much.
this happening.
Yeah, I was
Fuck.
super drunk. And I was like, hi, please. I want everything.
Said
And
one of everything.
I don't even fucking remember what I got, but I got so much shit. And I remember I was super drunk, and the taxi cab driver was like, do you need a hand taking some of this in? And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I wandered up to my friend's door, and he like placed it next to me. And then I knocked on my friend's door, and at
You were
that
just
point,
surrounded by a sea of McDonald's bags.
yeah,
Power.
and and then my friend answered the door, and he was like, "We've all gone to bed," and I was like, "But I've brought food." And so he was like, "I mean, okay," and he brought it in, and he and I tried to eat some of it. I think I ate 2 chicken nuggets, and then I passed out.
Oh God.
And I woke up in the morning, and there was just like three bags of McDonald's sitting on my friend's bench. I'm a very classy drunk. Can you tell?
No,
At least
you're
the
not.
chicken nuggets
You're
are nice cold.
Fuck off! I listen. All right, I have definitely had a few drunk stories in my
Your
life.
drunk stories are pretty great, but yeah, you're you're pretty awful when you're drunk. When you're that drunk. When you're that drunk.
I thought I was doing something nice. I was like, I'm gonna surprise all my friends. I'm gonna bring the McDonald's, and then I literally turned up, and they're like,
We're
we've gone to
asleep.
yeah.
Man,
And
this
I
is
was
the
like,
Chili's.
oh guys, but I brought McDonald's.
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
No.
Oh,
I love that.
Man.
I love that.
me too. Breakfast food's the best food, though. Honestly, like there's.
Easily.
Oh, I could talk about breakfast food for the rest of the podcast easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's
good.
next to like Japanese food.
Oh yeah.
Good ramen.
Oh
unrivaled.
yes, takoyaki.
She really likes. You both like Japanese food, huh?
I
definitely.
love Japanese food.
Yeah, you said
Sushi
that's
and
your favorite.
Inari.
It is. It is my favorite. I have
Simple stuff.
yeah, I have made it an active effort of mine to go to every single Japanese restaurant in my city.
Oh yeah.
And go and find like a really, really good one.
A
And
worthy cause.
oh yeah, I'm obsessed. Like a good fucking like chicken karaage. Oh,
And
oh
good
God.
gyoza as well. Like
Yeah,
there's
gyoza.
bad gyoza, but then the good shit is like
I like
My
gyoza.
I honestly, I could eat like edamame
oh my
for the
god,
rest of my
edamame.
life.
And bao
Yeah.
buns. The
Bao
just
buns!
steam bread in general.
Yeah.
Why isn't it more
Carbs.
common? It's so good. I don't
You
understand.
just
Yeah.
steam bread, and that's good.
Yeah, steamed buns. Steamed bread is like I don't know what it is. It's so good. It's bao buns, like pork belly, cucumber bao bun.
Fuck, I want to
Oh
order
my
food
God,
now.
yes!
Mm.
We
Oh
have this
God,
place
like-
here called Blue Breeze, and they have pork buns there, and
Mm.
they're like the softest, most delicious, like fluffy, like bread
Yes.
dough, and then they
Mhm.
have crispy pork belly with like pickled cucumber and like a hoisin sauce, and it is
Why don't they
need
just-
outlandishly good.
I
Did you say
need it.
pickled cucumber? Isn't that just a pickle?
No, there's a very serious difference.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It
Don't
is,
ask us to describe it.
yeah, there is
But
a
there is a
difference.
difference.
Okay.
But it is so fucking good. I actually
Mhm.
can't get over how delicious it is. It is insane.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
Also hungry.
Oh.
I want ice cream. That's what I want.
Ice cream after we've been talking about all this savory food?
I fucking love
Dessert
ice
is
cream.
the last thing on my mind right now.
I would
Mm.
fuck
Want
up a
some meat.
milkshake right now. A
You would
milkshake
fuck
and
what?
I would fuck up a milkshake. I
Oh,
would,
okay. I didn't hear the up part. I was like,
Oh yeah. No,
Jesus.
well I wouldn't. I mean, that is still later on the cards for me. There's always time. But I would very seriously don't. Why do you
I
always
just-
act surprised when I say things like this after we have been friends for how long?
You can't say you'd fuck a milkshake. That's just so.
Why not? Why the fuck not? Why not?
Where do we draw the line? What can't I fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't I do that?
Okay, you're right. Be free. Fuck a
Thank you. I
milkshake.
will be
I
free.
see if I care.
I'm
I'm not filming it for
Be
you.
free,
Don't ask
fuck
me.
a milkshake.
Wait, hold on. Are you fucking the milkshake now? What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying go. Do it.
Okay, all right.
But I'm not
listen.
filming it. You're not
Why would you
roping
film
me
it?
into those scenarios again.
Why? When did you and a video
Again?
camera come into this? Why? Me and the milkshake are having a very private, intimate moment together. You do not need to be present. Thank you very much.
I
love, okay?
misunderstood what you meant.
You misunderstood.
And I
me,
was
Simon.
at the
That's
window with a
okay.
video camera. I'm sorry.
But I would seriously kill a milkshake. I want one so bad. I want to go.
I always find the thought of milkshakes is better than the actual
Oh,
milkshake.
agree. Big
Milkshakes
agree.
are not that
absolutely
great.
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'd rather have
Not
ice cream, I
anymore.
think.
Yeah.
No,
Hmm.
no. Okay, a thick shake. Do you have thick shakes over in the UK?
Oh, but what is this a
It's
specific?
just a milkshake.
thing?
They just call it thick shake
It's not.
to be
There is a difference.
superior.
There is a major difference. A milkshake is way more runny, and a thick shake has like 5 scoops of ice cream in it.
I feel like that's what most of the milkshakes are in the UK. Thick,
Yeah.
big wheeze.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
only
yeah.
the only milkshakes over here would be like from a fast food place. Like most places, it's really thick. You have to kind of wait for it to.
Mm.
Oh,
Mouth a
see, I'm
little.
on board. I love that. I
Hmm?
have been obsessed with milkshakes since I was younger. Fun fact, not a fun fact, but a fun fact. Wait. We're going somewhere with this, okay?
Where is your camera? I want to see your face when you're saying this shit.
It's broken. It's fucked. I can't. Okay, listen.
Just turn it on. Let us see blurry you. I don't care.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay. Okay, it's working.
I need to see your blurry face when you
I'm
talk
blurred.
about thick shakes.
I'm blurred as fuck. Okay. So when I was younger, I used to get an allowance like
Uh-huh.
every week, and I would wait. I had a day. It was Thursdays after school because I had PE last, and I'd be like super sweaty and gross.
Yeah.
And so
That's
I would. Don't. Why you made? I'm sorry.
I'm
Have you
just
never
getting
been
drawn
sweaty
into
and gross in your
anything.
life?
being
Are you
drawn
judging
into
me
the
for
story.
having a basic bodily function?
Yeah, you sweat.
I haven't done that for
you.
20 years.
I haven't moved enough to sweat that much.
But I used to, every Thursday after school, I would use my allowance money and I would go to the dairy down the road from where I lived. And I would go and get, they used to make fucking massive
What the
ones.
fuck is a dairy?
Oh, right. Like a convenience store?
That just has like milk and cheese?
No, a dairy is like a convenience store. You know, you can buy like a whole bunch of shit there.
Why is
But
it
we
called
just
a
call it
dairy?
I don't fucking know. It's just
Okay.
called a fucking dairy.
I'm sorry.
How
So
dare
many
you?
questions.
Keep your Kiwi rage to yourself. Go on.
Listen, all right. I have a lot of pent up rage about my
We
Kiwi,
know.
and you made fun of my accent before. I'm allowed to be
Just
at least a little
once.
bit upset right now. Okay.
Unleash.
So,
I just want to know what lore is.
okay. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Okay,
Okay.
tell us the
So-
story.
So I would go to the dairy, okay, and the people who owned it were like the sweetest family. They were really, really nice. And I used to go in and they recognized me and they would give me like extra ice cream in my thick shake. And I get it every single Thursday. I get the same flavor every single Thursday to the point where they started having it ready for me when I finished school.
Uh-huh.
And I would hand it over to them. And then I'd go home and then the entire journey, the entire walk back to my place, I'd have finished it. I love that. That is simple. That is joy.
She likes those
and
thick shakes, Chad.
I love them
Reese's.
thick, tasty. I just, it's the simple things in life that just brought me a lot of joy. That's why I don't know.
That's
I have
fair.
such a fond love for thick shakes and milkshakes.
Hmm.
There's a connection there. It's fair.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm
I
sorry I
agree.
got
We
so
all
worked up
no,
about
no, no. We
milkshakes.
all get those connections with food for sure.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
my family used to have Friday nights. We'd watch TGIF, which was a series of sitcoms that looking back on are awful, but as a 8-year-old, you're like, yeah, TGIF. And we'd eat Chinese food from a grocery store. But I have nostalgia with that. So
That's fair.
I get you.
Set in a scene.
Fuck yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, I was telling Trench this the other day. I have like food like obsessions for like a month where I will go through a different month where I'll be completely fucking obsessed with like a type of food and I'll go out and I will go get it like every day. And I have gone through like many different phases. And one time, my friend, one of my really, really good friends at the time, um, I was I was late to her party and she happened to have like a whole bunch of like the snacks and stuff that I was like obsessed with in her house. And so she sent me a photo on her phone and she'd made like a summoning circle and had put like the food, my favorite foods, around the outside of it and was like, she was like, can you hurry up and come to my house? Like I'm summoning you. I have all the things here. I am just completely obsessed with food and I would eat all the time. All the time.
I mean,
if I
food's
could.
great. I agree. Hey Leah, I have a question for you. Do you know what Rice Krispies are?
Yeah.
Yeah, you call them Rice Krispies, right?
Yeah.
B?
What's
What
a
are
Rice
Rice
Krispie?
Krispies?
What is a Rice Krispie?
Okay. It's like a cereal. It's like puffed up rice.
Puffed up rice?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell me what it is.
you mean rice bubbles?
Rice bubbles?
What?
Rice
Can you use it in a sentence?
I have rice. Well, yeah, I have a bowl of rice bubbles in the morning. You have it with milk and sugar. Rice bubbles.
You put nice.
Right,
Snap,
rice
crackle, pop.
bubbles. They're really
Jesus.
good. Rice bubbles.
Oh, New Zealand's a strange place. I want to visit sometime.
More than welcome to come visit. Come and hang out. I will show you all the weird things. I'll even take you to a dairy. What an experience that
Whoa.
Do they
Get
have
yourself a
rice
thick
bubbles
shake.
there?
They'll have rice bubbles there.
And a thick
if you want
shake?
rice bubbles and a thick shake, if you want it,
That's what I'm gonna order. They're gonna look at me weird.
you can. I will
Excuse
take you
me.
where you can get the best thick shakes ever. There's some fucking
It
good
sounds
ones.
dirty to me for some reason. I don't know
What, a
why.
thick shake?
Yeah. Just the best
Sir,
thick
and you were
shakes.
having a go at me for saying things earlier. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Does
please.
does thick shake sound a little dirty? I
No,
don't know.
it doesn't.
Suggestive.
A little suggestive. Yeah.
No.
Give me that thick shake, baby. Say it like that.
Yeah, I don't want a shake. I want a thick
I want a
shake.
thick shake.
I want a thick shake. What's wrong with that?
Mm-mm.
It's so good. I love it. I love it. Every time I go out and they have a thick shake on the menu, I'm like, fuck yeah, give
What the
it to
fuck
me.
is Sultana brand?
Sultana brand?
It's
It's like
called Raisin Bran?
yeah. I think
Weird.
probably. It
Are there
sounds the same.
raisins in a brand cereal and you call it
Yeah.
Sultana brand?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is wrong with that?
I mean, I don't know. There's raisins in it. Why wouldn't you call it Raisin Bran?
Because a sultana is a raisin.
Oh, is
Why
it?
do they have two different names?
Yes.
Oh, I
it's
didn't
just
know
a
that.
different
Okay,
word
well
for
then
it.
that makes sense. I didn't know what a sultana.
Yeah, sultana is a raisin.
That's what they're called over there.
Yeah.
Oh, This is like that whole thing with what is that vegetable that you have in America that we just don't have? It's under a different name. Like
Orange.
no wonder we all love the scurvy over here. Eggplant. Eggplant, aubergine. Yeah, we don't you guys have
Call it an eggplant.
there's
That's
another one.
that's the
Zucchini.
penis emoji.
Yes.
Yeah, zucchini. You guys, we call it coriander. You guys call it cilantro.
Oh, cilantro is another one. Yeah,
We have
I remember
coriander
going to
and
America.
cilantro here.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
see, every time I say coriander, people
different
are like, "It's
things.
cilantro," and I'm like, "Okay."
Sure.
We don't have cilantro here. Oh wait, what? Hang on.
There's
Remember the
a
parsley family?
bell peppers are capsicums. Yep.
What? Capsicum
Yeah.
sounds like way gnarlier than bell pepper. Bell pepper sounds so cute and adorable. Capsicum's like fucking spice, even though there's like no spice in them
Capsicum.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
it's very lame. on spice.
Yeah.
Coriander are the
really, really
seeds,
good.
cilantro are the leaves. Interesting.
Oh no! See, both are just both. It's both.
Yeah,
Coriander is
coriander.
coriander. It's the whole
Just
thing.
mix it all together, you heathens.
Well, I
Fuck
mean, you're not gonna
you.
mistake the coriander leaves and the seeds, are you, when you put it
Yeah.
in a dish? Like...
Yeah,
I don't know,
How
but
dare you.
you can literally buy both of those. Everyone in America has both of those seasonings in their pantry. I don't
That is
know.
wild.
Yeah.
I
That is
love
wild.
okay, are you guys those people who hate coriander?
I'm indifferent.
I don't even think I can
Sorry.
tell you what it tastes like.
That was the soap people, right? The soap people.
Oh, yeah.
They're out there.
I
I'm-
hate
that might
people
be me.
like spit in my face being like coriander is disgusting. Tastes like
It's a
soap.
genetic thing, yeah. I think I might.
Oh.
That might be
See,
me.
look, right there, tastes like soap. I can't see. I literally I used to have a coriander bush, and it was upstairs. I live in my parents' place, but it was upstairs, and we had a deck, and we had a hammock, and I used to swing on the hammock when I was really, really little, and every time I swung forward, I'd grab a coriander leaf off the plant, and then I'd eat it.
Just eat it raw, huh?
Fuck yeah, coriander's delicious.
Yeah, I don't think I like it.
I love
think
that.
I'm
I
one of those
love
people.
coriander. I'm the kind of person who would I put it on so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a big vegetable person.
Yeah. Say
when I-
say you were out on the what?
What?
Were you out on the deck?
Oh, for fuck's sakes, we're not doing this again. No. All right, listen, okay? There is a discernible difference.
Say dick and deck next to each other for
There
Leah.
is a discernible fucking difference
Do it.
between the two.
Say it.
Dick and then dick.
You just said the same thing.
No, I didn't. There is a difference. Dick, as in you sit on a dick chair.
I thought you were just going to say
As
something.
in you suck a dick.
Somebody please clip that.
I suppose dick chairs would save a lot of time.
I feel like you sit on a dick too, so I don't know.
Hate my life.
Yeah, what you need is a New Zealand dick, Sheila. Mike?
Okay. Okay. Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Dick.
That's the...
Dick.
That was different, but it still felt the same.
Dick. Dick.
Oh, I heard it. Did you hear it, Leah?
No.
Okay, I heard it, I thought.
I'm so sorry.
I hate my
Oh, it's so good.
I hate my
So good.
life. I
Stop
hate
shouting
my
dick at
life.
us.
Which one of us is which? Am I the dick or the dick?
I'm permanently from now on. I'm adopting a new accent. I'm
No, your accent's
disowning-
great.
I'm
I love
disowning
making
my
fun of
Kiwi
it.
accent. That's it. I no longer am a Kiwi. I'm gonna
You can
start
do that.
talking like Esme forever now with my bad Southern accent.
Yeah, people are gonna walk up to you on the street like, are you supposed to be from the South?
Yeah. Oh shit. Might know I ain't from the south. Fuck. How could you tell?
Yeah, I think Kel pointed it out. It's like we can tell that there's a difference, but we can't tell which is which.
Mm-hmm. That's a good place to start.
Like, just say one of them right now.
Dick.
Leah, you guess first. I'll guess second.
Oh, I think that was Dak.
I think that was Deck as well.
Yes, it was.
Ooh.
This is a fun game show, Dick or Dak. It's like Dick and Dom in the UK. Like 3 people get that reference at 9:30 in the morning.
No, there are people.
Wait, she has a southern accent from someone from Arizona. Listen, I don't want to talk about it, okay? I don't want to explain myself to you.
She might have spent
Alright.
some time in the South. I don't know.
She grew up in the South, but her family lives in Arizona, okay? There's just, it doesn't make sense to me either. We're rolling with it, all right? This is fantasy.
That's why they call it role play.
That's right.
Rolling with
Fantasy.
it. Woo!
Woo! We're in the South. Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know. The South.
It begins again.
You're getting it. You're getting ridiculed right now for a character you don't play anymore in someone else's chat who isn't even role playing right now.
When you did
And
3 words of the
great.
accent.
It's lovely.
Oh
Oh,
no. Pain.
It's lovely.
God. Fuck.
I'll tell you what is funny, actually. When I do
Oh
get
my
accused
God.
of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not even
When I-
mention that Arizona wasn't a state at the time.
It's historical inaccuracies. It's fine. So this weird side effect of being British and streaming RP at like stupid hours. So like I usually stream from like midnight till 5 a.m. is I get on the Twitch front page every night, basically. Like the UK front page every night.
Really?
Because-
Because
and-
you're the only one streaming.
Yeah, because I'm the only British person idiot streaming at that time. So I always get on the front page, which I didn't realize. Like I don't look at my view count. And it wasn't until I noticed like weird people coming in and like being strange. I was like, are we on the front page? Is that what's happening here? Because this is quite a weird experience, feeling vulnerable in an RP space, but then doing it on the front page.
Then having some
like-
guy in like, kill
Yeah.
them all.
Yeah, literally that happens all the fucking time. When are you gonna shoot somebody?
I get
Or,
that
like,
too, and I'm never on the front page. So.
Very annoying.
Yeah.
Or just what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this cringe shit?
Yeah.
But the funniest thing is I get accused every day of viewbotting. Because it's like people done viewbotting because they don't seem to understand that like the front page of Twitch is a thing.
Did you,
Or, so
did
they're
you
like,
say a word?
yeah, viewbotting. Like
view
viewbotting.
botting. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Viewbotting. Viewbotting, yeah, where like
Mm-hmm.
they just assume that like there's something weird going on there. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain this to you, but I am literally maybe the only person in the UK streaming right now. So
Yeah.
or on the front page. But it's pretty weird because I've never been in part of the RP community before on Twitch. So like there's like there's a lot of weirdness where people make these weird assumptions. And I'm like, and I know that behind the scenes people will be making weird assumptions as well without understanding it. And that kind of like has always bothered me a bit. Because I'm like, I don't have any control over that.
Weird assumptions.
Like
about-
assume that you're view botting because they don't know that you're like on the front page.
Yeah.
So and it happens in like my regular streams as well. Like sometimes I get on the front page then as well, and
Mm-hmm.
people get weird about it. But it's weird coming into a new community and like having those assumptions made, and you're like, I have no control over this. Like I there's nothing I can do to change that narrative. Like
People
if
are
you,
so judgmental.
yeah, it's really strange, and I don't get it. But anyway, that's just a little random happenstance pet peeve that I just remembered that has
I
annoyed
never
me.
get accused of being of view botting.
Oh yeah? Well, it's time to start, boys. Let's go. Is this? I'm gonna make my 40 alt accounts. Is this guy Viewbot?
Oh, thank you.
But it has been really nice actually joining the RP community and having so many streamers welcome you. On the other hand, so that you
Yeah.
got that half where they're weird and closeted and like get weird about it, and the other half are so welcoming and they're like, oh my god, hi, and you're like, hi, I'm really shy and nervous and I would never put myself out there and like talk to people. So it takes someone else coming to me and being like, "Hi," for me to open up and feel comfortable.
That's great. Well,
But
honestly, it's strange because I feel like the Twitch RP community is so small. Like,
I've noticed that actually.
yeah,
Like,
it is
you all seem to
really.
follow each other from like game to game, and you all know each other from like, oh, you played these 3
Yeah.
roleplay games with me, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What has this all been happening this whole time?
Yeah, it's funny because I met Brad like in Atlas years ago, and he
Yeah.
somehow still remembers me. I don't understand how, but he did.
It's mad.
And yeah, like I met a ton of people before I came over to the server, and that's kind of like how you I don't know, you make a lot of friends that way. And that's also how you find out about new communities too, is like I found out about Wild from a friend I'd made from Atlas, and they were like, "Hey, you should check this out." And I was like, "I don't know. Very suspicious about this." But I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. It seems like, I don't know. I mean, it's the only RP community I've been a part of, but it seems like one of the best. Easily. The World
Well,
RP.
actually, it's kind of insane all the names that have come through Wild RP. Like, when you think of roleplay on Twitch, I understand that like GTA has kind of like its own thing, but when I think of roleplay on Twitch, like I think of like the biggest Twitch streamers who've done roleplay, like they've all gone through here, excluding some of those like GTA role players that I don't really know because I don't watch GTA, but yeah, like they've all been through here or are currently in here, like, and God, it's so good. Like, very, very talented people. And,
do you think Red Dead RP is going to keep growing as well? Because I remember I saw this. I think I saw Fist streaming it first because Table Story hosted him, and I was like, "What is this? This is weird. What is happening? Why do I care?" But then I found myself like 30 minutes later still watching, and I was like,
To
"Why?"
be fair, it is a Fist stream, so there probably was something
There
fucking
was
weird.
something happening for sure.
What did I watch? I literally just watched. It was 2 law people, and one of them was taking the other one hunting on the fields, and I was engrossed. I was like, "Why do I give a shit? I don't care about these people, but I'm also like really curious about what's happening." And then it just grabbed me immediately, and it's mad that it kind of does that.
The game is beautiful.
Yeah.
So it brings a level of realism to the role play. So like it sucks you in as a viewer and as a role player.
Yeah.
So I think that people are eventually going to migrate over to this. Like GTA is really big right now. There are a dozen other roleplay games that are played on Twitch, but I do believe that Red Dead is gonna have its day in the sun. I don't know if it'll ever be as big as GTA because people.
I hope it isn't, personally.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, people want that like action, like fast paced, like that you get with a cell phone and a machine gun.
Fast pace of GTA RP. I hate it.
I think it's so much better with the slow burn. It allows for character development and like you really get to know everybody.
So boring doing GTA like RP. I was like,
there's like no depth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I remember doing it, and you'd call somebody up, you'd run around looking for a bank to rob. You rob the bank. You manage to get away. You go do the exact same thing again, or you get caught, you get out, and then you do the exact same thing again. And it was like very instantaneous and kind of bizarre, and I didn't really enjoy that. I was like, I much prefer to like have like the slow burn, the sitting around talking with people, discussing things, and just being really involved, finding things out later, or it's that kind of thing. It's not like where you can call somebody up and be like, "Hey, so and so is doing so and so, let's go right now." It's like, okay.
No instant
Like,
communication.
I
No, which I'm
absolutely
not.
adore the Telegram
Me
system.
too.
Like, and the only thing I dislike, I mean, you can turn it off, that little indicator that tells you when you've got a
I turned it
Telegram.
off today.
Yeah, I
I
think I
did.
might turn it off because I
I
love
think
that. I
PD
love that
did
you
too.
have to wait for like news to come to you,
Yeah.
and it's so nice. It's so cool. It makes everything so much slower in a really sick
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, and it also gives weight to people who are like, I was there, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And you're right. Like, uh, someone in chat said I heard like a rumor that some no pixel streamers might try. Well, they already have. I know some that already have. I think that Timac on the server for a little bit. But yeah, I hear things all the time of like people are gonna try it, and I think that eventually they will. Eventually, they're gonna come over because they're gonna catch a stream at some point, and it's gonna be something particularly juicy or entertaining, and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, I want a piece of that. I know what I would do in that scene. I
Mm-hmm.
want to make a character that would be a part of that." I think it'll happen.
Yeah, it takes like time. I mean, it took time when I started. It took me. I was playing for like maybe 2 hours every 3 or 4 days, and then if it somehow something just happened, and I was like, "Oh, I'm playing every day." Oh, how did that happen? And it
Yeah.
does take time for you to build that, and for people to have the patience, I guess, to stick with it.
I used to have a
Um,
healthy stream schedule until I met the
yeah,
Rhodes
right.
people.
Whoops.
Thank you so much for that.
Whoopsie. I mean, same.
Uh,
My agent's like, Leah, you should have been doing like 5 things this week. Are you doing any of them? And I'm like, yeah,
you have an
no, I'm
agent? Oh
totally,
my god.
totally on the fucking. I could not exist without my agent. I am the worst person in the universe.
Well,
he he does the emails and shit like that because he's a wonderful human being.
oh,
Um,
that was nice.
yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of on a mild tangent. There's a lot of like agents in this industry coming up because like gaming's getting so big now,
Right.
and like um there's so much potential in the space, but there's a lot of like cowboy agents coming up, and they're like, I'll be your agent, and they like gatekeep deals from you and all sorts of like weird stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's mostly because of the presenting stuff that I do. You need like representation to be able to properly
That makes
do that work in the space.
yeah, that makes sense. Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, very lucky. Very lucky because I got approached by like a proper agency. And not I've worked with like esports agents in the past, and they've just been the worst. It's
Yeah.
just cowboys. Literal cowboys.
They
But yeah.
like try to herd cattle
Yeah,
instead of
literally
doing
they try
their
and herd cattle.
work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
So irresponsible. Leave
And I'm
those
like,
poor cows
"Sir, are
alone.
those assless chaps in public?"
That is a
Um,
choice and a brave one,
that
sir.
is a bold choice. Mhm. Um, but, yeah, sorry, but I don't know, my my whole weird life career thing, it's all very bizarre and,
Mhm.
completely vague and random, and to be honest, I started streaming, like, 7 years ago now, and I've just been riding this wave ever since of, like,
It's awesome.
things kinda went well, and then it's just been like, "Okay, well, next year it's gonna go down, so we'll just make the most of it this year," and it's been like that for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Interesting life.
Awesome.
But anyway, back to RP because I've forgotten exactly how I ended on that tangent.
I don't.
Oh yeah, my agent is like, you need to do work, and I'm like, yeah,
Oh
but I
yeah.
really just want to stream RP. Like,
I am
it's
doing work.
16 hours a day. This counts. This is an acting experience. It's good.
I have to search for missing people and escort medics.
Exactly. It's very important. Don't you understand that we are making a
Work.
shared improvised story together? You don't know the scale of what we're doing.
Yes.
But then speaking of the scale
Mm-hmm.
of the stories that you create in an RP world like this,
Yeah.
it has blown my mind. It's insane. It's so amazing, and I feel like it must be so sick being a viewer to be able to go between streams and get all these like interwoven
Yeah.
stories, and to be able to follow them all on the different threads.
Different perspectives of the same
Right?
thing happening as well.
And you don't get that experience as a player or a streamer as such because you
Right.
don't want the meta, so you're like just kind of in your own lane.
Yeah.
doing your own thing and having
Mhm.
no idea of like you feel like one person running away from an explosion a lot of the time. Just stuff's happening all around you, and you
Yeah.
have the tiniest idea of what's going on, and it's
Yes. Like
awesome.
life.
Yeah, yeah, legit. It
Mhm.
really is. It's really cool.
You speak about like, well, there's a lot of stories happening on
Mhm.
Wild, and you only get a little piece of it. And just really quick, I want to talk to you about Atlas RP. So Darkside RP has an Atlas server. It's not up
Mhm.
right now, but they're planning on launching it again soon. And I think their peak, what was their peak, Cal? I think it was over like 1,000 people online
Holy
at one
shit!
time.
Ow, that's mad.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
nuts.
which was probably the coolest thing about Atlas. But
Mhm.
was it 4 or 5,000? Oh my god, okay, I was a little off. 4 or 5,000 people playing
Wow.
concurrently and
Fuck
creating
me.
story in all their little corners of the world.
That's nuts. I was like looking at the launcher for Water P earlier, and I was like, wow, we're consistently averaging like 100 active
It's
players. That's
gone up lately.
mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. But then wow, like thousands. Can't even
Hmm.
imagine.
Well, it's a very different game. You could never do that with Red M or 5M.
Mhm.
This
Yeah, I don't think I
game
have any experience with it.
has like
Um,
loading, like the servers are like squares on the map, and you load when you go into a
right.
different one, and each one can have 100 people in it. So that's how you're
Okay,
able
okay.
to have that many. But yeah, like it's like 50 times bigger. To sail across the sea, it takes quite a bit of time. Like you from one corner to the next, it would take, I don't know, probably close to an hour.
Yeah,
So
that's nuts.
sailing on a ship that's going really fast too. Like it would take way longer if you rode a horse. But
I can't even imagine like trying to manage that. That's insane.
yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing is you can't manage it. It's like real life or like a piece of. It's kind of like Wild RP too. Like you can't
Mm,
be a part of
yeah.
everything. You can't know everything that's going on, and you can't like if you're, aw, oh, let's just look at the dog.
Hi.
And you also can't
Could
like
chill.
as an authority figure, you can't like be in control of everything either. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, you gotta be really hands off, I imagine. Um, it must be
Yeah.
quite hard dealing with like the conflicts that arise as well, like player to player conflicts. I can't even the stress. It would age me.
Yeah. I still think you should try. I think you should try law though.
I think I assume the Table Story crew would be back in Atlas because I think they did that.
They did.
They've
Who knows? Maybe.
yeah, maybe. I am
Maybe.
very dependent on other people though. I would never have joined this server if it wasn't for joining other people and
Yeah,
being
but
like, "Hey, can I tag along with you for the next month?"
but think of
Um,
all the new friends you've
I
made
literally
though.
I
don't even worry
know.
about that. I literally tag along with my friends all the time. I'm like, "Can I come hang out?"
Hi, I'm lonely and bored. Can I hang out with you now?
My
It's
whole
like
life.
me, like on the edge of even in the RP. I'm like, I want to hang out, but I don't want to be annoying. And then I'm like, we're role playing. Just fucking,
Just ask
just
if
fuck,
you can
just
go
go do it.
hunting.
Yeah. You want to go hunting? I'm getting better at it. I
Yeah.
am getting better. Thanks, RP. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've heard some really fun stories from Atlas, so it's tempting to check it out.
It's the sea battles are actually really fun. Like having a
Mm,
whole crew of people working a vessel and like they all have their different roles trying to battle another vessel that's doing the same thing on waters that looks and feels pretty good.
yeah.
Is a lot of fun. But definitely the coolest part about it, I think, is like how many people can be involved in the role play.
The
And like
scale, yeah.
you could be on that server for a year straight and still only know a fraction of the players, of the characters.
Yeah. That's
Which
so cool.
like
I mean, I feel that way
people
even with Wild RP.
really?
So
Well,
many people I don't know.
yeah, a lot of new people come, like new characters get rolled in. That's true.
Mm.
But But the crazy
But
thing
yeah, there are
about Wild is
consequences.
everybody hears like the new news of like the big things that
Mm-hmm.
happen. And if you're gone for even like a week, you're just like, I have no fucking clue what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which the FOMO is real, which is part of the reason why people don't take time off.
Yeah.
Because
That's why I didn't take time
like
off for
what
a whole
someone
year.
could have died today. Like there could have been a huge
Yeah.
robbery where people got hurt. Like
I could have been involved in that. Ah, I want the drama. Stop that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And then it's hard as well because I think that can lead to sometimes that like out of character frustration when you don't feel
Uh-huh.
involved and you're like, but I want to be involved so desperately. Please, I want the drama.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to let that affect you. You've got to like let go and be like, there'll be more. There'll always be more. There'll always be
Mhm.
new opportunities. There'll always be new things. And
Yeah.
if there isn't, you can make it. Like that's kind of the fun of RP is
Yeah.
you make those opportunities.
Exactly.
Which is why I want to get good at doing a crim and do a really fun criminal.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Have
There's
you
ones that we're gonna
thought?
roll up tomorrow. They're gonna be fun.
Oh, okay. All right.
They aren't
I'm gonna catch you immediately. You know that, right?
no, they aren't necessarily they're not crims. They're kind of
Okay. I
they
believe
could
you.
be. They could be. I like making characters, we've talked about this quite a lot with like PB and stuff, but making characters that are grey. Like they could go either
My
way. They're
favorite.
just yeah,
True
and then you just
neutral.
right,
And
they're true
then
neutral. They land in the crossing, and depending on who they talk to and what direction they end up going in, they,
Mm.
yeah, they get
Almost
influenced.
all characters I make start off as neutral.
that was
It's
Otis.
so good.
That was
Mhm.
my
I feel like
first
that's the
character.
best way to separate out your characters as well, like meta-wise, because you can't replicate that pattern. You can't replicate that pathway of like the people you've known and run into and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The people we're making, a little tiny spoiler, they're kind of going to be. The idea is to give people side quests. Like we are going to be side quest givers essentially. So we're
Nice.
making a couple
I love that.
characters who, yeah, they're going to be like completely chaotic, and they travel around and
I
they're like,
love Chaos Gremlins.
we need. Yes, but like without being like scene stealers, like they're just going to be standing there, and if you want to talk to them, you can do, and they'd be like, we urgently need like 10 berries immediately. Like we need
Yeah.
your help. Like if you can get 10 berries, we'll give you $20. And it's just insane shit. And it's like, why do you need that? And well, who knows? That's
I
gonna be
like
the fun
that.
of it.
I love
Yeah.
quest givers. That's great. Really giving.
Yeah, and just creating opportunities, especially when it's like a quest that is you need to go quite far out. Like, oh,
Mhm.
we're in Saint Denis, but we need some fresh strawberry mint right now. And
Mhm.
we'll make it worth your while. And then there's suddenly these players have got something to do,
Right.
and maybe they get attacked by wolves along the way, and then they've got like the story. It's
Yeah.
just made itself. Like, it's so fun.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
You gotta get
so-
some money on those characters too, though. I feel like
Yeah, we need to
so
build
that
up a
you
little bit
can-
on them. Yeah.
that you can
gotta
provide, you know.
incentive.
Incentive,
yeah. But that's the base. So because I think that's something I have to remind myself sometimes in the game is like just roll with it. Like one of my favorite experiences was like I think it was Oglethorpe. We rolled into Valentine
that?
Oglethorpe. Yeah, who the hell's that guy? And we roll into town and he's there with a woman and he's like, oh, she's got a circus. But we need to go find a bear for the back of her wagon, and she's got this like fucking circus wagon. So we're like, all right, well, we'll help you then. So we all head off to Tall Trees with the circus wagon and Oglethorpe to try and catch a bear, which we all know, like
It's
mechanically you
impossible.
can't do.
You can't
Yeah,
do
there's
it.
no way. We're like, oh fuck yeah, we'll help you catch a bear. But then along the way, shit happens, and our friend gets stabbed, and he's lost in a cabin somewhere, and we have to go save him. But it was
Right.
just insane, like sequence of events. And the fact is, if we hadn't spoken to Oglethorpe that day,
Mhm.
Oglethorpe met up with another of our friends who told us that someone was searching for us because our friend had been stabbed and was bleeding out somewhere. And if we hadn't met up with Oglethorpe, he wouldn't have seen us to tell us that, to get us to help them. And if we hadn't gone and helped them and looked for them, they'd have permed. And it's like this such a weird sequence of events where it's like the ripples happen. And I love it. And that wouldn't have happened if I'd just gone, no, I'm not interested in doing that. I just want to sit here and do my own thing.
Yeah. You
it's
get
great.
rewarded by
Yeah,
saying yes and.
yeah. It's really cool.
Okay, Leah, what did you order from McDonald's? You have to tell us.
I didn't order anything. I looked at it and I thought the order would come to like £10. And do I want to spend £5 on delivery for a £10 food order? I'm being frugal.
I don't know what those words mean. All
I'm
right.
really sad. I'm still looking at the menu.
You're still looking at it. You've been looking at the menu for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've given me strength to not order food. So what's going on with you right now so that chat can go and follow you and all that stuff?
I'm a variety streamer. Hello. I stream most days a week. I'm streaming XCOM at the moment.
XCOM, yeah, I've seen that. Are you like naming everybody after chat and stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
And then blaming
murdering
them for fucking up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you mean you missed, you idiot? It was an 85% chance to hit. You're banned.
Nice.
Yeah, having good fun killing Brad over and over in as many reincarnations.
Just keep making Brad.
Yeah, just let him die horrifically. So yeah, I'm playing a lot of XCOM at the moment because I just woke up one day and was like, I fancy playing XCOM. Don't know why. I don't like tactical games. I don't like strategic games, but I usually play like FPSs and RPGs and all.
Someone
sorts of
told me something about like, did you have a professional FPS career?
No.
Is that not correct? You just used to play. Was it like Destiny or something?
Oh yeah, I used to play a lot of Destiny.
A lot of Destiny.
A lot of Destiny.
Yeah, I love
That's how
Destiny.
I started my stream. My whole
yeah.
career came from Destiny. Not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
Nice. Destiny's a good game. I didn't play the first one. I played the second one. But
Oh, but you missed
Destiny
out on
was
the
fucking
golden age.
awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Vault of Glass, baby. Hell
Oh yeah, Vault of Glass. And seeing Phogos for the first time, mind was blown. I was like, this guy's
So
insane.
fucking good.
Like, what is this? It was so good.
So good.
But that's what I do.
Table
And I also
Story.
stream RP. And Table Story. Oh yeah. I'm on a D&D show at the moment called Mistlight on Table Story. I play a little emo tiefling warlock.
What day is that?
That show that's on Thursdays at 9 p.m. GMT. That show is wrapping up at some points. I don't know. It's in the final leg now, I think. We're getting answers. Very cool. It's a horror, eldritch horror, like 5e homebrew campaign. So
That's awesome.
very good with Brad as the DM. And I think that's all I can say right now.
Okay. B,
That's
do
all I can say.
you have anything going on?
No.
I didn't. Yeah.
Thick shakes.
She has thick shakes and she has a really cute dog. What else does
Hell
she
yeah.
need?
And I mean, you can choose to follow me on Twitch if you would like, but I'm a dead streamer, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Aren't we all? We've all got one
I mean,
foot in
I'm
the
dead
grave.
inside.
Hell yeah!
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming out for this episode of Zug and the Bug. It will be up on YouTube and Spotify as soon as I get to it within the next couple days. My name's Orcish. This is my channel. I stream on here all the time. You guys can find me there. Socials, Nightbotch, just put all that out. So, all right. We are gonna leave now, but you guys have a great night, and I'm sure we'll all see you soon, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys!
Cookie Monster, when did you get here?
Bye, guys! I can't do a Cookie Monster impression. I tried.